He says senior IDEC investigator Sanil Belochin was the only one who introduced himself and spoke to him. Nkosi says Belochin threatened to charge him with corruption for being in possession of Vusmuzi Kat Matlala's credit card. He says Belochin asked him if he knew about a corrupt relationship between Matlala, National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola, and Head of Crime Intelligence Dumsani Khumalo. Nkosi says he didn't. Andrea Johnson, who was head of IDEC at the time, says she didn't sanction this, and it's not the unit's policy to interview suspects in the absence of the legal representatives.
This, if it is true, is conduct really unbecoming and would have to be dealt with, because there's no logic for wanting to do this with the urgency and with a measure of pestering.
The visit took place on the same day Matlala's plea deal on his police corruption case with IDEC collapsed. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
In the Johannesburg High Court, a police officer, Primi Alfred Sikhobela, is expected to continue with his testimony in the trial within a trial in a case involving the alleged underworld figure Matlala. The proceedings are focused on whether evidence obtained during the arrest of accused number 1 Musa Kekana was lawfully obtained and can be admitted at trial. Kekana and Matlala, along with 3 others, face a combined 25 charges, including conspiracy to murder and attempted murder, fraud, as well as money laundering. Demakasa Lishuro has more.
Sikhobela, who fielded tough questions on the stand yesterday, insisted police had more than enough evidence to obtain a search warrant, telling the court no magistrate in South Africa would have refused to issue one based on the information available to him. He says police could not afford to wait for a warrant because the unguarded vehicle believed to have been used in a murder in Vereeniging could have been moved or crucial evidence destroyed. The court heard that when Kekana was arrested in a Mercedes-Benz Viano, police recovered number plates, cell phones, and a small bag. The admissibility of those items, along with a prohibited assault rifle and ammunition, as well as a stolen vehicle seized during the operation, are at the center of this trial within a trial. Sikhobela also testified that he seized a mustard-colored top allegedly worn by Kekana for gunshot residue testing after investigators suspected he had been the shooter in the Vereeniging murder. Demakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
The High Court in Pretoria will hear the DA's urgent court bid to overturn Council's decision to suspend Tshwane City Manager Johan Metler and reinstate CFO Gareth Mnisi. The vote to place Metler on precautionary suspension was made in a closed council sitting earlier this month based on a complaint made by the EFF. Council also voted for Mnisi's return to work, with councillors considering his charges less serious. Khomoso Modise has more.
When the votes on the fate of suspended Tshwane City Manager Johan Metler and CFO Gareth Mnisi were taken, 12 DA councillors and 1 Freedom Front councillor were on a leave of absence, but ended up showing up and taking part in the vote. But the Speaker discounted their votes, which resulted in a final vote pushed by the EFF and ANC, which saw Metler being placed on precautionary suspension and Mnisi being reinstated. Now the DA is challenging this on an urgent basis, arguing that the Speaker had no legal basis to treat the DA and Freedom Front Plus councillors as absent. The DA also believes the charges against Mnisi, who testified at the Madlanga Commission on allegations of tender rigging, constitute serious misconduct. Khomoso Modise, Eyewitness News.
And a suspected ringleader in a multi-million-rand vehicle licensing fraud syndicate has been arrested in the Free State. Authorities believe the man was using stolen National Traffic Information System credentials to fraudulently renew vehicle licenses. The arrest follows a 3-year investigation by the Road Traffic Management Corporation, the Hawks, and SAPS Crime Intelligence. Mongezi Koko takes a look.
The suspect was arrested in Parys after police allegedly found a computer logged into the NATO's system at his home. Investigators also recovered NATO's documents, login credentials, license plate records, laptops and desktop computers. The RTMC says the suspect, believed to be an IT specialist, allegedly implicated current and former transport officials from several provinces. Spokesperson Simon Zwane.
The arrest came after long-term investigations by the RTMC and the police into the fraudulent licensing of vehicle, which is concentrated in the south of Johannesburg and the Free State.
The suspect is expected to appear in the Parys Magistrates Court tomorrow. Mungezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
Gold is trading at $4,041.57 an ounce. The rand is at 16.72 to the dollar, 22.23 to the pound, 19.05 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $87.42 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got an accident reported on the M2 West in the Selby area. It's causing heavy delays coming out of Heidelberg Road. There's also queuing traffic reported on the M1, both directions between Corlett Drive and Greyston Drive.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 17 and 20 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, former IDEC head Andrea Johnson is expected to wrap up her testimony at the Madlanga Commission today.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
On 702.
Let's Walk the Talk, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 9 o'clock. Dumelang. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. It's great to be in your company this morning. I trust you're well and you're ready to rock this day. Let's start by rocking the 702 open line on 011-883-0702. That's the number to dial. You can send your WhatsApps as well or voice notes on 072-702-1702. So the International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola has concluded his trip to Nigeria. You may have read a few stories about that let's say yesterday. And in that meeting with Nigeria, remember, should we call it almost a diplomatic fallout between Ghana and South Africa and Nigeria? And there was a Ghanaian Foreign Affairs Minister, I think, who came to visit the country and head-to-head discussions with our government, his counterparts, the Minister of International Relations, Ronald Lamola. And really the crux of the issue there, the concern was the anti-illegal immigration protests and sentiments that we've seen in the country, because a few people have died and there are thousands of people that have been deported. So the Minister of International Relations visited Nigeria to have a conversation about how the two countries can work together to deal with the issue of migration, but also to assure Nigeria about what South Africa is doing to ensure the protection of all citizens, including Nigerian citizens who are here in the country, and maybe more so here legally in the country. And interesting enough, Pretoria has expressed there are three, I think, points that they want to focus on as the two countries deal with what is a crisis before them. So there are three specific areas of concern that have heightened these tensions between the two countries, including the involvement of certain Nigerian citizens in organized crime, illicit drug trafficking and financial fraud. Because, let's be honest, there are certain areas in this country, when you go there, it's almost like that's a Nigerian community, and I'll use that as an example because I'm talking now about Nigeria and South Africa. there are certain places in this country you go to and you see that there are Nigerians that live there. And in some of those cases, you see how rife criminality is, even on the part of Nigerians. And that's not to say every Nigerian is a criminal. Of course, that's not the case. I'm highlighting these certain areas. I mean, if you go to Randburg, that is a town, do they call it the Randburg town? Next, not too far from the taxi rank in Randburg, there's a specific area there. If you go there, I mean, when you start driving slow, even in that area, you get approached by, personally speaking, I've only been approached by Nigerian citizens every time I drive around that area and I'm slowing for whatever reason, or I'm at a traffic light because they're trying to sell me drugs. And we have to talk about that. And not because you are putting up a blanket statement on all of their citizens. Or you go to Sunnyside. I've lived in Sunnyside. And I've seen instances where drugs are rife in the area, and some of the Nigerian citizens that are there living in Sunnyside partake in that level of criminality. Now, park that. So there are these three different areas of concern that were raised, right? Hijacked residential and commercial properties in Hillbrow and in Sunnyside, these unlawful enclaves, so to speak, and how they've compromised public safety for local residents and foreign nationals alike. And we have made commitments as South Africa on what we are going to do going forward, right, to ensure broader protection of everyone in this country, including citizens of Nigeria, because that's what the Nigerian government was concerned about. And now, here's my concern. What is Nigeria committing to do? And maybe I'm missing that in the articles that I have read about the meeting between the International Relations Minister and his counterparts in Nigeria. I'm missing the part about what the commitment is that Nigeria has made, given the concerns that South Africa has raised. Because actually they've raised their concerns, and South Africa has made commitments and says, okay, we'll do better in those areas. What commitments have they made? So the broader question I'm asking here is, do you think there is accountability? And I know we've spoken about this before, the need for some of these countries to also take some accountability here. It's not enough to point a finger at South Africa and say, look at what your citizens are doing. Some of our citizens are being killed because of these anti-illegal immigration protests and tensions going high. There are some of our citizens in your countries that have now been deported, or they've been sent back to their home countries because they fear for their lives. They're not feeling safe in South Africa. Fair. And you need to, as a government, you represent your citizens wherever they are. So you do need to be firm and want to ask for programs or provisions where safety becomes a priority of your citizens. But equally so, if there are issues that are being raised about some of your citizens in other countries and the criminality they partake in, you've got to do something. And I'm not sure what it is in this case and what it could be, but you've got to do or say something. So do you feel that there is enough accountability that has come? And I'm using down Nigeria as an example because our two ministers met this week. And what kind of accountability do you think this should take? Because it won't help then to say, you can't condemn people who are coming together and they are building their own communities. In fact, globally, when you look at migration, I mean, whether you go to Paris, whether you go to New York, anywhere around the world where you go to, you'll see that a particular community will start gravitating towards each other. That's why you will find like a place in Paris where it's mostly dominated by Nigerian citizens, or you'll find a place in South Africa or other citizens from other countries. They start coming together and they build up that area. Is that a great concern for us? Or is the concern that when they start creating and building up those communities, then sometimes we see some of them engaging in criminality? I'd like to know your thoughts on that on 072-702-1702. Also, News 24 has quite an interesting story this morning that I thought we should reflect on and have some fun about. They're reporting about a Nelson Mandela Bay bodyguard who took his boss's official Audi Q5 on a personal joyride and crashed it. And after crashing this vehicle, he hid it for days and then tried to have it patched up in a backyard repair job before anyone noticed. And he's now facing disciplinary action for that because they ultimately figured it out because it was just shoddy work that was done on the vehicle. And this made us think with the producers this morning of instances where you have covered up a mistake. Like, has this ever happened to you? And maybe you also scratched or dented a company car and tried to patch it up. Or maybe it's not even an asset, but it's something else. Have you ever had to cover up maybe a missing deadline or, and blaming technology, or maybe not even in the workplace? Maybe you've taken a family asset and lost it, and then you bought a new one before your family even noticed. What are those instances where you have had to cover up something? I have had an instance where I worked and I used a company car, and for the purposes of not incriminating myself, I won't mention which company this is, because now they'll be sending me lawyers' letters and saying you must pay back the money or whatever they want me to do. But there was a time many years ago when I was working as a journalist, and I used a work car, and I scratched it just a bit by the driver's door. And I remember I was so nervous. Because I was scared what are going to be the consequences. Sure, maybe they're going to get you to pay the excess or more. And I remember I did go to a particular place somewhere in Johannesburg and had it fixed before they could figure it out. And please be forgiving, I was a young boy trying to figure out how to fix a mistake or how to resolve a mistake that I had made. So I went to this place and they managed to patch it up a bit. And I came back to work and nobody knew about it until this day. They never picked up that there was anything wrong with the vehicle. So that was my cover-up over 10 years ago when I was working as a young journalist. What was yours? 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. And as I said, it doesn't have to be about something at work. Maybe it's something that happened in your own family, in your friendship, in your own social circle. At 10 o'clock, we are going to do our monthly feature, The Healing Hour. And today we're healing from the secrets that we have kept from our loved ones. What is that secret for you? There are things that many of us carry that no one else knows about. Sometimes we have secrets from our past that we may not want others to know. We all have done things or made mistakes that we are not proud of and don't want to come to light. And perhaps it's that secret debt for you, or the hidden diagnosis, or the addiction, the affair that we regret, or it's the abuse we never spoke about, the child we lost, the hidden child that you have and nobody really even in your own immediate family knows about, or maybe it's the sexuality you suppressed, the depression we smile through, unemployment we've hidden. We've heard, in fact, this week on the show, on Monday when we had our Family Matters feature, we heard of men who were calling us and saying, I've been unemployed for 6 months. One specific man said, I've been unemployed for 6 months and I haven't been able to, my family doesn't know, my wife and kids don't know. What are the things that the secrets that you carry, that you have hidden from your loved ones? That's a conversation we're going to have at 10 o'clock on our monthly feature, The Healing Hour. And I know some of you prefer to send us emails to tell us your stories because you don't want to call or send a WhatsApp. You can send that email right now on cm@702.co.za and share your story with us. What is the secret that you have kept away from your loved ones, and why have you kept it away? Are you scared of judgment? Are you scared of shame? What is it for you? cm@702.co.za is the email address if that's where you prefer to share your story. At 11 o'clock, though, we are going to do our Listener's Choice feature. And today we're going to be discussing the circumstances under which an employee's pension benefit can be withheld. There's been a lot of conversation about Andrea Johnson, who is no longer the head of IDEC, but she's going to keep her pension. The Minister of Justice confirmed on this show earlier this week that Andrea Johnson is going to keep her pension. And the minister said, there's nothing I can do. That's labor laws. And some of you have asked, no, but it happened with Busisiwe Mkhwebane, so why can't it happen with Andrea Johnson? And of course, these are different cases. Mkhwebane was impeached. Andrea Johnson has decided to resign. But the reality is, if Andrea Johnson had gone through a commission of inquiry into her fitness to hold office, do you think she would survive it? Do you not think there would be an adverse finding against her? Therefore, people are asking then, why is she walking away as if she was an honorable head of IDEC? So we're going to, on our Listener's Choice feature today, bring in an expert who can help us understand the circumstances under which an employee's pension benefits can be withheld. And then we wrap up the show at 11:30 with the Sharing Space. That's the show coming up over the next 3 hours.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
The irritating thing about this whole thing about South Africa, Clement, is that we are babysitting all of these African countries, all of them actually. They can come here and do as they want their citizens and do all the criminality. They have no apology for it, these leaders in Africa. And us, we are going to be the ones who are to be blamed for everything that is happening in South Africa, especially that is being committed by their people. No accountability for whatsoever. And our South African government is doing nothing, Clement, underground here. We want Somalians to be out in our townships, and they are not doing anything. And the people are going to remove the Somalians by themselves.
Good day, Clement. I'm glad you're addressing this topic. Clement, I will stick to the Nigerian group. You go to the US, they are being deported in huge numbers. Dubai, the UAE is no longer taking Nigerian applications for visas. Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, you name it. Unfortunately, there are those Nigerians who just blemish and tarnish the image of all Nigerians. However, Clement, the Nigerian government seems to be doing absolutely nothing to prevent these Nigerian criminals from going all around the world, committing all sorts of crimes, from scams, prostitutions, drug dealing, nothing, Clement. I hope one day the Nigerian government will have the guts to address this issue. Thank you.
Yeah, and to be clear, I mean, it's not all of them, right? I think we have to be fair, guys. Imagine someone, people in Nigeria talking about South African citizens and using that blanket approach where you say, yeah, they're here illegally, they're committing crimes. That wouldn't be fair, because there are South African citizens in Nigeria who are not committing crime and who are there legally. And equally so, there could be some South African citizens in Nigeria who are causing havoc and being engaged in criminality. I haven't seen any of that yet. But what I'm saying is, when is the Nigerian government going to take accountability? I mean, this listener, this voice note we've just played, talks about other places where the concern has been flagged. So if you're seeing that there's a trend, I mean, if as a South African government, we're seeing a trend where South Africans are somewhere in Uganda, in Paris, in America, in Washington, D.C., and they're known for committing crime because it's become so rife, then as a government, we need to do something about it. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's communicating via the embassy there to warn their nationals and say, please, respect the countries where you are being hosted. I don't know, but you've got to do something. You can't pretend like that is not an issue that exists. And in this case, I'm missing accountability from Nigeria. Sure, criticize government all you want. And you've got a right to do that. And we must hold our government accountable. You know that we do that. But when does Nigeria take accountability and say, hold up, there's a trend that we're picking here about our citizens who are in other countries. What is going on? Because they are ruining the name of other Nigerian citizens in those countries who are not engaged in criminality and who are there legally. And in all the stories I've read, I see the commitment South Africa is making. I'm missing the commitment that Nigeria is making. We did invite the ambassador of Nigeria to South Africa this morning to come on the show. Maybe he was going to share details about what they are committing to do from the concerns that have been raised by our government. But yeah, we still don't have him. But hopefully as soon as he's available, we'll bring him on the radio. It's 26 after 9.
When Joburg came together in the iconic CBD for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, unforgettable moments were made, and none of it would have been possible without our incredible partners.
My name is Sydney Ntantlampele, the Group Chief Marketing and Corporate Affairs Officer at ABSA Group. I grew up in Johannesburg, and the city is not going to fix itself. It needs us. It needs the people. And that's why our organization has been so involved with Walk the Talk 2026 to look at people from all walks of life enjoy themselves the way they did. We, as ABSA, are going to be joining again because this cause is a cause for the long haul.
Thank you to all our partners who showed that great things happen when Joburg comes together for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg.
When you trust an attorney with your money, you should have peace of mind, right? That's where the Legal Practitioners Fidelity Fund comes in. Established under the Legal Practice Act, the fund exists to protect members of the public who suffer financial loss because of the theft of trust money by a dishonest practicing attorney. It's an important safeguard that helps build confidence, accountability, and integrity in South Africa's legal profession.
Find your next design obsession at Decorex Joburg. From the 30th of July to the 2nd of August, the Sandton Convention Centre becomes the destination for the latest in decor and design. Explore over 450 exhibitors across 5 levels, inspiring talks and live demos, plus the property show by Private Property. Download the Decorex app and plan your visit today. Decorex Joburg, 30th July to 2nd August. Tickets at decorex.co.za and at the door.
Pedestrians, winter days are shorter. That means more walking in the dark. If drivers can't see you, your life is at risk. Wear bright or reflective clothing, add reflective strips to your school bag, and use a flashlight when walking at night. Walk in groups where possible. Being visible is not just a choice, it's your protection. Be bright, save your life this winter. This message is brought to you by the National Department of Transport.
Get ready to watch demo prices get knocked down. It's the Demolition Sale at Motor Select. Hundreds of quality demo vehicles at smashed prices. Come find the demo deal you've been waiting for and save big on your next car. The Demolition Sale is now on. Motor Select. Trusted value, trusted vehicles. Visit motorselect.co.za to find yours. T's and C's apply.
The Discam Foundation's Million Comforts initiative began by helping change the lives of girls. Now it's asking a bigger question. What if we gave boys the same opportunity to thrive? Too many boys grow up believing they have to hide their emotions and face life's challenges alone. That's exactly what the Discam Foundation is working to change. Today on the Afternoon Drive with John Pellman, we'll explore how Million Comforts is helping boys build confidence, resilience, and the skills they need for a brighter future. The Discam Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts. 9:30, time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Thabo, Yelang, Stalin, Benson, I see you. I'll start with your calls after the headlines. Fiso, hi.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. The High Court in Pretoria will hear the DA's urgent court bid to overturn Council's decision to suspend Tshwane City manager Johan Metler and reinstate CFO Gareth Mnisi. The vote to place Metler on precautionary suspension was made in a closed council sitting earlier this month based on a complaint made by the EFF. Council also voted for Mnisi's return to work, with councillors considering his charges less serious. Action SA has proposed legislation to regulate the lobbying profession to ensure that influencing government is done in a transparent manner to prevent state capture. The party says its lobbying transparency bill will also establish South Africa's first comprehensive statutory framework to promote transparency in political and executive decision making. And India's government has proposed longer jail terms and hefty fines for examination paper leaks, seeking to restore confidence after youth-led protests demanding education reforms rocked the country. Under the proposed legal change submitted to Parliament, the maximum prison term for those involved in paper leaks would be doubled to 10 years, while fines could exceed $1 million and court proceedings would be fast-tracked. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
While travelling in Germiston, we've got some delays on the N17 West. That's between Osborne Road and Harderbeck Road. There's also slow-moving traffic reported on the N12 West between Edenville Road and the Glulies interchange. While travelling in Sandton, do expect delays on the M1 North just as you approach Grayston Drive. Heading towards Woodmead, there's some delays on the N1 South. This is between Allendale Road and the Baklu interchange. That's due to an accident seen right at the Baklu turnoff, still causing that bit of a backup. And there's also queuing traffic on the Pretoria Main Road. This is not far from the N1 exit, and that's due to roadworks as you approach the Baklu Bridge. Please be on the lookout there. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
It's 9:32. This is the 702 open line. We're taking your calls on 011-883-0702. WhatsApp's on 072-702-1702. Coming up, your chance to win 4 tickets to Scatterling's Music Festival, brought to you by 702. Remember, I've been asking you this week to send us your name, and one artist will be performing by sending us a WhatsApp to our WhatsApp line. And some of you have done that, so you included your name, your ID number. So check out your phones, because we could be calling you back before we wrap up the show today to give you tickets to the Scatterling's Music Festival. Let's go to your calls now on 011-883-0702. Yelang, let's start with you in Linden. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement.
Sure.
Just to shed some light on what I'll term the Nigeria issue. The government of Nigeria, unfortunately, cannot be responsible for individuals who reside in other countries. I'm sure you would agree with me that would be an undertaking that could just not be managed in any capacity. However, what I would recommend, because the Nigeria problem is a global challenge, and of course that's due to a mix of economic ambition and educational pursuits on their side. But these countries need to be very stern and strict when it comes to managing the influx of Nigerians, in particular based on the history of what the Nigerian migrants have brought globally.
So I hear you, Yelang, but I'm a bit not sure about the first point you're making, that they can't have responsibility over their citizens. I think the responsibility of any government is to their citizens, whether those citizens are in their countries or not. That's why if there's a Nigerian, for instance, I saw a tweet by the Nigerian ambassador to South Africa, who posted a tweet about a Nigerian citizen who was killed in South Africa by the SAPS. So they went to search. Apparently, they thought he's hiding drugs, but they got there and they started beating him up. So the Nigerian ambassador to South Africa has put this on Twitter, and IPID is actually investigating that case because there seems to be an issue there. So it may or may very well not be the case. But I'm giving you an example to show you that even when you're a citizen of Nigeria, but you're in South Africa, something happens to you, whether you're here legally or illegally, the responsibility is of your government.
However, the government cannot be held responsible for actions.
I agree. And I'm not even saying Nigeria must be held responsible. I'm saying I don't see them moving, Yalang. I don't see them having any ounce of interest. Like, for instance, they could send out a statement and say to the ambassador of Nigeria to South Africa, please send out communication and say to Nigerian citizens in South Africa to please respect the law. Or tell the ambassador of Nigeria to South Africa to go and visit some of these areas where crime is rife and some Nigerian citizens partake in the crime. Go to those areas. Try have conversations with them. My goodness, all I'm asking for is show an interest to help resolve. I'm not saying take accountability. I'm not saying take the blame, but be interested to say, South African government, how can we work with you to resolve this? And I'm not seeing that from them.
The
reality is Nigeria is not a country known on the continent to be proactive with communications or engagement. And this has been a reality in Nigeria itself and in regards to all the bilateral cooperations that they've engaged in. And perhaps it's because they are well aware of what I term the Nigerian problem. And it is a real problem. It's actually a global problem that we all as Africans need to engage with. And, you know, yes, we can cry xenophobia all we like, but if one particular nation displays a certain characteristic globally, then that calls for a different type of engagement.
Yeah. Yelang, thank you so much for your contribution. Also, where have you been?
Oh, busy.
Okay, don't be too busy for us. I've missed your calls. I haven't heard from you in a couple of months now. Yelang calling us from Linden. Let's go to Stalin, who is in Johannesburg. What are your thoughts, Stalin? Hi.
Hi, Clem. Good morning to you and your
Sure.
Look, I was fortunate enough to actually have stayed in Nigeria for 7 years, right? And an interesting thing is, being in South Africa, and okay, I did have exposure to, let's call it, the drug peddling that you've also experienced, like on the streets in various cities in South Africa. And the strange thing is, in Nigeria, you don't actually find this criminality at this level. I mean, the police and the army, they are hard on criminals, eh? In Nigeria, I don't think there's like a 0.01% chance of you even getting hijacked for that matter. In terms of the crime, you just don't see it. I mean, and what I've understood is it's difficult for the guys living in Nigeria. The ones that come down here to South Africa, lots of them are coming to hustle. And unfortunately, they get caught up in, let's call it, criminality, drug trade, and so forth. So, yeah, it's quite crazy to see this.
Yeah, it is. Stalin, in Joburg, thank you. Benson, you are in Midrand. What do you think?
Hi, Clement. I echo the sentiment of the first as well as the second caller. Let's start from the beginning. The main purpose of this meeting was because of the xenophobic attacks that happened recently. Right? Now, let's understand this. If I was the Nigerian government, I would feel the same way, because it's not. I mean, then the South African government comes out and say there is no South Africans are not xenophobic, and that is all good and well. But the image that is being put out there on social media, you find these videos of people being harassed. The police are there and they're doing nothing about it. It leads back to the government, because everybody would see that and say, no, the government is not doing anything about it, because the police who are supposed to be representing the government in these areas are doing nothing about it. Now, the second point is asking, what is Nigerian government committing in this regard? There is very little they can commit in this regard, because if I'm a Nigerian citizen and I'm in South Africa committing crime, the Nigerian government knows nothing about it. South African government needs to take charge and say, okay, you as a Nigerian citizen, you commit crime here, you get arrested, you get jailed. I live in Joburg. I live in Pretoria. You find a lot of these people who are in the street selling drugs. Police go there, collect money from them, let them be. They know them. This is not because they don't know who these people are. They don't know who they are. If you know these people, you know where they are. You know what they do. You don't go, you don't arrest them. Instead, you go and you collect money from them. Okay. And then you let them continue their work.
All right.
Now for the Nigerian government, how would the Nigerian government be aware? I mean, they are aware of the global problem that, yes, Nigerians in other countries are committing crime, are doing other things, but they are not aware of the specific people that are doing these things.
No, and they don't have to know the specific people, right, Benson? Let's look at this at a broader level. Let's not be specific. I'm not saying they must know that there is a John who lives in Sunnyside who committed a crime. I'm saying, as a government, let me speak for South Africa. If I was in government in South Africa and there is a perception out there about our citizens, which is backed by evidence in some instances, where and it's creating bad rap for our country and citizens who are overseas. So if there's a perception created out there, and there's a trend that we're seeing that when our citizens go to other countries, they go and they form maybe these enclaves where they live together, which is fine. And then sometimes we see instances of them being part of criminality. As a government, you must be interested in that. You must be interested in, because here's the issue. The people who go to the streets and they're against illegal immigration, where do the concerns begin at? It begins with they're seeing that there are some foreign nationals who are committing crime. That's part of the issues that have been raised by the protesters, isn't it? So then, sure, you can argue that it's unfair to expect Nigeria to comment on lawlessness in South Africa. But if you're talking about immigration, that's one of the issues that lead to anti-immigration or anti-illegal immigration sentiments. So you've got to address that. And I'm not sure how Nigeria is addressing it.
Okay, let me ask you this, Clement. Still sitting on your assumption as the South African government, right? And you have this, you know about the crime globally that Nigerians are committing. You understand that it's a problem, and then you send your ambassadors out to these places to talk to these people to let them know that, look, this is creating bad rep on us. Do you really think, deep down, even if you do that, do you really think it's going to stop these kingpins from committing crimes? It's going to stop these people from actually doing the crime?
Maybe not. You need to, but there's a shot I would take.
But those countries where these people are dwelling, they need to take charge. They need to be the one in the forefront of the fight to stop the problems from happening in the country. The second caller said something about going to Nigeria and you hardly find crimes and drugs. It is the truth. The way you can go to Randburg and slow down in the street and buy drugs from the people in the street, you can't find that in Nigeria because you will be dealt with immediately.
And that's precisely
what is the South African government doing about it?
Yes.
It's like me saying, I know I can't commit crime in my country because they would really mess me up.
So I'm going to go do it outside.
Where I know the law is.
And that's wrong. Lenient. And this is where then our government, Benson, needs to make sure that there are accountability mechanisms in place. So they need to ensure that the police do the work. And we criticize our government here when they don't do that. We criticize the police when they are working with criminals. I'm waiting for Nigeria to criticize its own citizens when they are committing crimes in other countries. Because we're not talking about isolated incidents here. I'm saying it's a bad rap. Like there are a few countries that have dealt with cases of Nigerians who've come together, they start doing fraud and corruption, or they partake in criminality, including drugs. It's not all of them. There are many Nigerians here who are here legally and who are part of communities. It's not all of them. But I'm saying there's a trend we're picking up here globally. And as a government, if you look at that and you don't do anything about it, and you're thinking, well, those countries must take action against these criminals, I don't think that's sufficient. I'm sorry. This is migration. Migration is a global issue, and I don't think it's going to be fixed by one person, the crisis of even illegal migration. And all of us need to be interested to contribute to the solve. And I'm not sure I'm seeing them do that. It's 15 minutes before 10.
Your boss noticed. Your ex noticed. The neighbors definitely noticed. Because some cars say, I rented a car. And some cars say, I rented the car. Sani Sixt Rent-A-Car. Premium rentals. For people who don't settle. Choose the right car. Rent Sani Sixt on sani.co.za.
In life's most challenging moments of loss, compassion can be your greatest comfort. You shouldn't have to face the financial burden of losing a loved one by yourself. Rest assured, Clientele's funeral plans pay out cash within 24 hours. You can cover up to 13 family members on one plan, ensuring all your loved ones are taken care of, and 3 children are covered at no additional cost. With Clientele, you're not just buying a plan, you're also buying peace of mind. When the time comes, you will need to make important calls with your 200 Rand airtime you will receive when you claim. Plans offer double accidental death cover, as well as transport, grocery, and unveiling benefits. Apply today. It's easy. There are no medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
strong communities are built on a strong local government. Every day, municipalities work to deliver the essential services that improve lives and support thriving communities across South Africa. As the voice of local government, SALGA represents, supports, and empowers municipalities to build capable institutions, promote good governance, and advance effective service delivery. SALGA, inspiring service delivery.
Your voice, your station,
your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
It's going up to 14 minutes now before 10 o'clock. I see we've got Crispin Phiri, who's a spokesperson for the Department of International Relations on the line now. Crispin, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Clement.
Good. So, quick one. The Minister, Ronald Lamola, had a meeting with his Nigerian counterparts. There were a number of areas that were raised, including that in some instances there are these enclaves or communities where Nigerians would gather and live amongst themselves, and we sometimes see criminality there. What commitment did the Nigerian government make to help South Africa deal with that concern that was raised?
Yeah, we thought it was important to raise this because this is the lived experience of South Africans. And this is really not a justification for what we are seeing currently, but definitely some of the sentiments that have been expressed around migrant communities and criminality. So we thought it was important to put this on the table, not to say that it's an element of that we see from all Nigerians, but it is an experience that our people have experienced because of some Nigerians. And the Nigerian government were clear that they do expect their citizens to respect the law of the Republic and act in accordance with our own laws. One of the things they did commit to was to say where they can in other countries when they have visits of high-level officials, they commit to engage their nationals to say that when you are hosted by another country, you must respect the laws and you must engage in a manner that is respectful of that country. So they did say that in the event where there will be delegations of a high-level nature, these type of engagements are definitely on the table.
So is that what we're going to see happen in the future? Or because I get it, we're dealing now with the reality. That's what's happening in some areas in South Africa. So will they engage their citizens who are here?
We hope that, in the future where there's such a high-level delegation to Nigeria, there would be such an engagement. But more importantly, between the two countries, there will be a mechanism, what we call the early warning mechanism, where we start seeing trends that are concerning about our nationals in the two countries. We will raise this through the diplomatic channels, and we then expect some level of action towards finding a resolution for these matters. Of course, on our side, what we will be seeing is much stronger enforcement of the law, and there's no objection to any country enforcing the rule of law, and that's what we expect from our state institutions, to enforce the law, critically so, to ensure that, of course, you're not targeting a particular nationality, but you enforce the law in a manner that your citizens expect. And that's what we also want to see happening quite strongly. As you would have seen, Clement, of course, some of the discussions that we're having as a country, the Madlanga Commission, this is reforming for the police services in many ways. And so, there are things that our government is doing to ensure that we have a police service that is fit for purpose.
Got you. Crispin Phiri, spokesperson for DERCO. Thank you for making time.
Good morning, Clement. This selective watching and listening of whatever that is being said out there, there are so many incidences where the Nigerians are attacking police. What is this previous caller talking about? So he's selectively watching videos or of the vice versa because he chooses the narrative. I'm very sure that's a Nigerian that just called right now. It's unacceptable when there is selective commenting on issues that are happening. No, Nigeria needs to take responsibility for the criminality by its citizens. So, and he must not talk about South Africans being xenophobic. No, South Africans are reacting to the challenges that are happening. So please, stop being selective in what you watch and all that. I mean, we saw a video in Cape Town where the Nigerians are hitting the police with dustbins and they are closing the gates and all that. They are fighting the police. Imagine. the lawlessness.
Morning, Clement. Clement, the funniest part about all these embassies and ministers is they don't call out their own citizens. As you say, many of the foreign citizens in these high spot areas selling drugs, prostituting, and etc. But you'll never see a statement coming from the Nigerian parliament, the Ghanaian parliament, calling out their citizens to behave accordingly, stop entering foreign countries illegally. Yet, when stuff hits the fan, they're ready to come up and point fingers. That is the weirdest part. You go into the townships, you found townships organizing themselves, doing community policing forums. You go into Jozi now, you'll never find a group of foreigners going building by building, ratting out all those criminals. And they know each other, but where's the sense of ownership and community building from their part?
Yeah, and that's what we're all asking for. The sense of community building. And I think when you are hosted by another country, unfortunately, guys, you are there as a guest. There are certain things I can do in this country, and I'm not talking about crime now, but there's a certain way I can behave in this country because I'm at home. There are benefits that come with you being home. There are responsibilities that come with you being a guest in someone else's home. And that includes respecting their laws, respecting officials, respecting how things are done. And if that is not being done, and as a government you're seeing your citizens are creating a negative rep about the country and other law-abiding, legal citizens of Nigeria in other countries, then you've got to raise it because they're ruining opportunities for your other citizens who may want to explore opportunities in other countries. What's wrong with us coming together to fix that? We will criticize our government, right? And Nigeria has a right as well to say to our government, what are you doing? You need to make sure your police do the work. But also we need to tell them, you need to make sure whenever you come visit this country, go to some of these communities where the Nigerians live. Chat to them. Remind them the importance of observing the laws of this country and also respecting responsibilities they have as guests of this country. 7 minutes before 10.
When Joburg came together in the iconic CBD for the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, unforgettable moments were made, and none of it would have been possible without our incredible partners.
Hi, I'm John Perlman, presenter of 702 Drive. This has been the most incredible day. It began for me when I got on the Gautrain to come here. The walk itself was just glorious. And I think that was good because we walked through the bad, but we most importantly walked through the good. And people as they walked would see, oh, if we can fix those 4 blocks, we can fix those 3. Incredible, a magnificent day.
Thank you to all our partners who showed that great things happen when Joburg comes together for the 702 Jozi My Jozi Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg.
Vandalism and theft of water infrastructure affects everyone. Damage to pipes, meters, valves, reservoirs, and other critical infrastructure can result in water outages, low pressure, sewer spillages, and costly repairs that impact communities across Johannesburg. Johannesburg Water urges residents to help protect public infrastructure by reporting suspicious activity affecting the water network. To report incidents or water-related faults, call Johannesburg Water on 010-061-4470. That's 010-061-4470. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water.
Solve exciting riddles and unravel a web of suspense and adventure with Hollywood Bets and Spinner Zonke Mystery Parcel. You stand a chance to win a share of 1 million rand in cash and bonus bets. Start your quest and bet 2 rand or more on selected Playtech slots every Wednesday between 2:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. and Sunday from 4:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. What scintillating secret will your parcel reveal? Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Oh, the shelf was leaning sideways, the tap was dripping slow. I said, relax, I've got this. I know just where to go. I went to the crazy store, a screwdriver's all I need. Somehow I left with so much more, a torch, a broom, a book to read.
That's crazy, crazy, that's the crazy store. Went in for one small thing, came out with so much more.
The crazy store. Hey, you never know what you might find.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
3 minutes before 10 o'clock. One of the questions I've asked you this morning on the open line is around this interesting story on News 24 about a bodyguard from Nelson Mandela Bay who took an Audi Q5, it was a work car, on a personal drive and crashed it. And after crashing it, hid it for days and tried to have it patched in a backyard repair job. And it was shoddy work. He's now facing disciplinary action. And I've been asking you if you've been in the same situation before.
Hi, Clement. On covering up, I rented a car and I actually bumped it. And I knew that if I took it back like that, I would have to pay a lot of money. So what I did was I took it to some mechanics there in Kasi, and they sorted me out quick. And I took the car back to the rental company and they didn't notice anything. Shivu here from Cape Town.
Yo, hectic, hey? MJ, you are in Pretoria. What do you want to say about Ronald Lamola?
Yeah, Clement, look, for me, I think our government, through our Minister of International Relations, somehow they are compromising us. They are not brave enough to engage their counterparts and tell them the truth as it is. I agree with you, especially on the point raised earlier by one caller, where they say the Nigerian government cannot take accountability for their citizens in here. It is wrong. The government cannot take accountability only when their citizens are on the receiving end of whatever they are experiencing. But when their citizens are breaking the laws of another country, then they distance themselves. Clement, I think Ronald Ramula, for me, he appears to be one of the weaker ministers because he doesn't really convince me. And I'll give you examples. If you look how he handled the issue of the Guptas regarding the application that he was doing in Dubai or wherever to bring them back to face the consequences. I mean, there were serious issues that were raised from that side that they didn't complete the process. They didn't follow the processes correctly. And now, if you listen to what the Ghanaian government and the Nigerian governments did, they have raised they've taken the issue with the AU, which will be debated regarding the issue of xenophobia in South Africa. But my question is, why would they then take the issue to the AU? But when their citizens leave their countries, which is illegal, and go and enter in another country, they don't want to take accountability.
Got you, yeah. MJ, in Pretoria, I thank you for your contribution.
The pain of losing a loved one is never easy. It will leave you feeling overwhelmed. At Clientele, we understand that burying loved ones with dignity truly matters. Our funeral plans pay out cash within just 24 hours, and you receive 200 Rand airtime when you claim to make those important calls. Plus, we cover up to 13 people on one plan. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Because behind every blood donation is a future still unfolding. A child's first day at school, a first job, a dream business, a first drive. For 25 years, blood donors have made these moments possible. In just 30 minutes, give someone another tomorrow. Be the lifeline. Give blood. Give it tomorrow. The South African National Blood Service.
Remember the first time your soul felt alive, or the last time music moved you so deeply you didn't want it to end? That feeling is calling back. You are officially invited to come experience soulful performances from global icons Kamasi Washington, Temba and Africa Mkize, Nubia Gashia, Ibrahim Malouf, Judith Sipuma, Ndabo Zulu, Melanie Scholz, Floetry, Thandiswa Mazwai, and 40 other world-class acts. 4 incredible stages at the Sandton Convention Center, one unforgettable experience at the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz. 25th to the 26th of September. This is Jazz Reignited. Get your weekend pass now via Ticketmaster.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Eastern Cape Emergency Services are on the scene of a deadly crash on the N2 at the Gamtus Hill involving 2 cash and transit vehicles and another car. The route has been closed in both directions as rescue and recovery efforts continue. The Eastern Cape Transport Department says 1 person has died and 2 security guards sustained injuries. Department spokesperson Unati Pingose.
While the exact cause of the crash remains under investigations, preliminary investigations point to dangerous driving behavior. We once again appeal to all motorists to obey the rules of the road.
The crash comes a day after 6 people died in a collision on the N2 near Mooiplaas yesterday. The High Court in Pretoria is expected to hear the DA's urgent court bid to overturn Council's decision to suspend Tshwane City manager Johan Metler and reinstate CFO Gareth Mnisi. The vote to place Metler on precautionary suspension was made in a close Council sitting earlier this month based on a complaint made by the EFF. Council also voted for Mnisi's return to work, with councillors considering his charges less serious. Khomoto Modise has more.
When the votes on the fate of suspended Tshwane City manager Johan Metler and CFO Gareth Mnisi were taken, 12 DA councillors and 1 Freedom Front councillor were on a leave of absence, but ended up showing up and taking part in the vote. But the Speaker discounted their votes, which resulted in a final vote pushed by the EFF and ANC, which saw Metler being placed on precautionary suspension and Mnisi being reinstated. Now the DA is challenging this on an urgent basis, arguing that the Speaker had no legal basis to treat the DA and Freedom Front Plus councillors as absent. The DA also believes the charges against Mnisi, who testified at the Madlanga Commission on allegations of tender rigging, constitute serious misconduct. Khomoto Modise, Eyewitness News.
Action SA has proposed legislation to regulate the lobbying profession to ensure that influencing government is done in a transparent manner to prevent state capture. The party says its lobbying transparency bill will also establish South Africa's first comprehensive statutory framework to promote transparency in political and executive decision-making. This follows reports that a company chaired by former DA leader Tony Leon tried to influence Communications Minister Solly Malatsi on behalf of satellite internet provider Starlink. Babalondense takes a look.
Action SA yesterday announced its plan to introduce the Lobbying Transparency Bill, a private member's bill targeting the lobbying profession. The party says the bill is the second bill in its transparency package of bills aimed at creating greater ethics and transparency. The party's parliamentary leader, Ethel Trollip, says the bill is a response to decades of questionable lobbying practices and not just a resolved communications controversy.
It's because of too many years of having to endure dark and dubious lobbying that is undeclared.
Party whip Lerato Ngobeni says there are several examples of how influencing the state can go wrong.
From the arms deal and the era of state capture to the Digital Vibes scandal, and most recently, allegations involving Resolve Communications.
The party says the bill will now be put out for public comment. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News.
And India's government has proposed longer jail terms and hefty fines for examination paper leaks, seeking to restore confidence after youth-led protests demanding education reforms rocked the country. Under the proposed legal change submitted to Parliament, the maximum prison term for those involved in paper leaks would be doubled to 10 years, while fines could exceed $1 million and court proceedings would be fast-tracked. The legislative push follows weeks of protests over exam paper leaks and other irregularities, which culminated in the resignation of the country's education minister last week. The protests, spearheaded by the Cockroach Janata Party movement, drew massive support from students across the country and presented a major challenge to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government. Gold is trading at $4,041.57 an ounce. The rand is at 16.72 to the dollar, 22.23 to the pound, 19 19.05 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $87.42 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays in heading towards Fourways. An accident right near Winnie Mandela Drive. Delays from Malibongwe Drive. There's also queuing traffic reported on the N3 North between Marlborough Drive and the Baklu interchange. That's due to roadworks.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 17 and 20 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: Eastern Cape Emergency Services are on the scene of a deadly crash on the N2 at Gamtoos Hill.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang, welcome to the second hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. Before we get to our healing hour, which is our monthly feature, let me play some of the WhatsApp voice notes that came in the previous hour on the 702 open line. I didn't dedicate enough time to playing your WhatsApps. I did take more of your calls, less of your WhatsApp. So let's play a few before we get into the healing hour.
Gosh, I think ultimately the issue is that government and the police are not doing enough to manage crime. And yes, crime will be an opportunity that anyone from any nation takes advantage of if there are no circumstances or guardrails against it. So a few days ago, I was in the magistrate's court, and I kid you not, there was one case of a South African lady with grievous bodily harm case, but the rest of the cases, absolutely every single one of the cases after that was from Mozambican nationals who were in the country illegally, and they faced that charge as well as theft or housebreaking. My case was housebreaking. Two of the three people that broke into my house are Mozambican nationals who are here illegally. It's just a matter of addressing crime. They'll come from everywhere. If crime can be easily committed in South Africa with no consequence and there's no active policing, we're in trouble, and we are in trouble.
Oh, morning, Clement. You know I have enormous respect for you. I love you so much. I like the work that you do, but on this one, I beg to disagree with you. I'm Nigerian. I've been in this country very, very long time. I've never been involved in crime. I mean, the behavior, I understand that there are Nigerians who, are engaged in questionable activities in this country, and it does paint us out with a bad brush. But how do you know for certain that those guys who approach you, go Randburg, are Nigerians? How do you know? Is it by the accent? Is it by how they look? I think we must really, really be careful when we phrase issues like this. They're very sensitive. Prince in Johannesburg.
Yeah, Prince, I think the part you may have missed is that there was no blanket approach there, right? Because then nobody says every single Nigerian here is illegal. I mean, I kept on stressing that. I kept on stressing it every time I take a call, because I know that we can get into a situation where we speak as if it's all the Mozambicans, it's all the Lesotho nationals or whatever that commit crime. That's not what I said. I'm telling you about my experiences. I've lived in Sunnyside. I've seen what's happened there, and I've seen what that place is populated by. I've traveled in the past Randbeck Square, whatever that town in Randbeck, and I have been approached. And sometimes I'm interested, like I keep the conversation going, Because I'm interested to hear, like, okay, what's their modus operandi? So they come, they approach you, even at traffic lights, and they tell you they want to sell you the drugs. So to be clear, nobody says it's all Nigerians who are doing so. But I'm saying if there are some Nigerians themselves who know that there's bad rap that's being created out there by some Nigerian citizens who are a law unto themselves in other countries, and not just in South Africa, but in other countries too. If there's an understanding of that, what are you doing about it as a Nigerian government? I'm not saying you must be blamed for that as Nigerian government. I mean, you have no control over your citizens wherever they are. But if you can see that there's a perception that exists globally about your citizens, whether you are Mozambican, whether you're Nigerian, and I'm talking about Nigeria today because of the meeting that was concluded this week between our Minister of International Relations and his Nigerian counterparts, because he was in Nigeria. Were they here or he was in Nigeria? But they had a meeting. And I'm talking about that because I'm saying, okay, fine, I see that our government has made commitments to do better. And I'm not seeing anywhere where Nigeria says, oh, we are also going to start doing better by maybe whenever we come to South Africa, we must make sure we go visit some of these areas. Or maybe even ask the South African government and say, where are the areas that are problematic for you, where you see some Nigerians being involved in crime? And then we go there, we talk to our citizens to remember that they have a responsibility to follow the law. That's all. Like, be interested as a government, because otherwise you're ruining chances of some of your citizens who want to explore opportunities somewhere else in the world. If you're not nipping it in the bud, or you're not working with the South African government to nip it in the bud. So cooperation is what I'm asking for here.
I think if it's in a case of most countries reacting to Nigerians' criminality, we are not saying all Nigerians are criminals, but let's face facts. There is a problem with Nigerians, and the Nigerian government needs to look into it because it is tarnishing the image of Nigeria. So can we not... we're not saying we're using a blanket approach, but it's now dealing with the case of most at this moment.
Good morning, Clement. Clement, the issue is it's easier to pass the buck to somebody else than to take responsibility. And if you've noticed with every African nation, including ours, passing the buck and blaming somebody or something else for your own misfortunes has been the go-to for a very, very long time. And we need to start learning to take accountability and enforcing laws ourselves and holding our own people accountable. So the Nigerian government is not going to do what you are hoping they will do. That is just a pipe dream you can continue wishing. As is our own government that's not going to take accountability for the lack of service delivery or the lack of enforcement of our laws in this country, which is why we find ourselves in the situation that we are in.
702
Healing Hour.
All right, 14 minutes now after 10 o'clock. We start with our monthly feature, the Healing Hour. This is an opportunity for you and I to have a conversation about some things we're healing from. And we've been doing this for many years, and it's really provided so much healing for people. It's really gotten people out there to realize that they're not alone in whatever situation they're facing. And the Healing Hour is just an opportunity for us to chat as the CM Show family with no guest or some expert. It's just us having conversations about what we are healing from. And today we're healing from the secrets that we have kept from our loved ones. What is that secret that you have kept from, whether it's your family or your spouse, your partner, your friends? There are things, many things, that we carry that no one else knows about. And sometimes we have secrets from our past that we may not want others to know. And we all have done things or made mistakes that we're not proud of and don't want to come to light. And perhaps it's that secret for you that's now weighing heavily on you. Maybe it's that secret debt that you had. Maybe it's the hidden diagnosis. You're scared to tell your loved ones about what you've been diagnosed with. Maybe it's the addiction that you're dealing with. And it's heavy on you, but you can't talk to anyone about it. Or maybe it's an affair that you regret. Or maybe it's the abuse that you never spoke about, or the child that you lost, or the difficult decision you had to make, maybe to abort a child. Maybe for you that was a difficult decision because circumstances forced you to do that, and it's something now that you look back at and you're thinking, this is a secret that weighs so much on me, and my loved ones have never known about it. Or maybe it's your sexuality that you have suppressed from your spouse, from your partner, from your own family. Or it's unemployment that you have hidden. Because as we found out on Monday on our Family Matters feature, there are some people out there who have not told their loved ones that they are unemployed. There's a man who called us on Monday. He's got children, he's married, he's been unemployed for 6 months, and he says, I've never told my wife. They don't know. So you pretend like you're going to work every single morning. What is that secret that you have been keeping away from your loved ones? Sometimes the secret isn't even something that we have necessarily done. Maybe it's the pain that we've been pretending we're not carrying. These hidden aspects of ourselves that fill us with shame, and they thrive in being tucked away and never being revealed. And we keep these secrets for many reasons, right? You don't want to disappoint the people you love, And also we fear judgment, shame. We worry that people are going to see us differently when we share those secrets with them, or they'll reject us. Or maybe we're going to lose respect from them. And sometimes we've convinced ourselves that protecting others means suffering in silence. But honestly, secrets have a way of becoming heavy. They don't just stay locked up. You can't just lock them up away somewhere. They shape how we show up in our relationships. They create distance where there could be intimacy. And they make us feel lonely, even when we're surrounded by people who love us. So when you're carrying something alone for years, it can become exhausting and emotionally taxing. And when secrets are shared and brought into the open and into the light, the grip of that power and influence is then loosened. Right? When we have a secret that exerts some power or control over us, it is in our own best interest to expose that secret. And when we bring it to light, we prevent it from having any kind of control in our relationships or how we show up in the world. So what I'm saying is, healing isn't about feeling pressured to disclose everything. It's about asking whether the silence is protecting you or is it imprisoning you. So I would like to know from you this morning what secrets you have been carrying for years. Because for many people, healing begins the moment they stop carrying the burden alone. And perhaps for you, it begins with forgiving yourself before you even tell another person. And that is sometimes the hardest conversation to have. So what secret have you been carrying for years from your loved ones? What have you been keeping from people that you love? How has it affected your life and how you show up in the world? Has it become a source of anxiety for you? Has it made you feel some kind of guilt? Maybe you're fearful or you feel isolated. And how are you healing from that? Because I can only imagine how lonely that can be. What has helped you move from that place of shame? And if you've already chosen to share it with your loved ones, what relief has it brought you? How are you finding your way through the aftermath? So what we're doing today is creating a space for honesty and healing. This is not to force anyone to reveal what they're not ready to share, but it's to acknowledge that so many of us are carrying invisible burdens. And healing from those hidden truths starts with acknowledging the burden. So what's that secret for you? Give me a call on 011-883-0702 or send a WhatsApp 072-702-1702 or an email on cm@702.co.za. 20 minutes after 10.
Meet the all-new Lepus L6, an aspirational lifestyle sub-brand of the Cherry Group. A spacious, intuitive cabin that moves with you. 6 striking colors, a panoramic sunroof, and an advanced 540-degree HD surround view camera system. With a 10-year, 1 million kilometer engine guarantee, pre-orders are open now. Be among the first. Book your test drive or visit lepus-sa.co.za today. Lepus. Drive your elegance.
It's Winter Carnival at Food Lovers Market. Save big with pork packs at only $59.99 per kilo. Delicious pork spare ribs at $89.99 per kilo. Large golden bananas at $12.99 per kilo. 3 125-gram punnets of farm fresh blueberries for 50 Rand. And 4 1.5-litre bottles of Coca-Cola Original Taste for just 60 Rand. Valid until Sunday, 2 August, only at Food Lovers Market.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. It's easy to apply. No medical examinations and no paperwork. SMS funeral to 31586. That's 31586. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The Discam Foundation's Million Comforts initiative began by helping change the lives of girls. Now it's asking a bigger question. What if we gave boys the same opportunity to thrive? Too many boys grow up believing that they have to hide their emotions and face life's challenges alone. That's exactly what the Discam Foundation is working to change. Today on the Afternoon Drive with John Pellman, we'll explore how Million Comforts is helping boys build confidence, resilience, and the skills that they need for a brighter future. The Discam Foundation, caring for the community. Every swipe counts.
702
Healing Hour.
22 minutes after 10 o'clock. All right, let's go to your calls now on 011-883-0702. I've got your WhatsApps as well coming through on 072-702-1702. Cynthia, let's start with you in Pretoria. Good morning.
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right, Cynthia. How are you doing?
I'm all right.
What's your story?
My story is that, to cut it short, I was in a relationship with a so-called Muslim guy, and I was on prevention all along, and obviously we were not using protection, and at some point he told me not to use it, and then I left it, and then I never thought that it would happen that fast, but I conceived.
Okay.
I was in a very abusive relationship emotionally, and during the course of that, I told him that I'm pregnant, and then he immediately on the spot said, "No, I don't want this. You know, it's not within my religion to get a woman pregnant before marriage or whatsoever." I don't know if it was true or what, but it put me in a very difficult position because during the course of him telling me not to use the prevention, I thought maybe it was like he wanted a baby or we were trying something, but I don't know what was happening. But I, at some point, at a later stage of life, thought maybe this person was using me as a ritual, because how can you say you wanted a baby and the next thing when I get pregnant, then you force me to do abortion?
Yeah.
So this is the secret that I kept from my family for so long. And till today, I haven't even told anyone because I was put in a very difficult position.
Yeah. Is it something that's
And I had
weighing heavy on you now? Like, do you feel like it's eating you?
Yeah, it does, because it's something that was not within my religion. I never wanted to even get pregnant before marriage or whatever the case, or to even have an abortion. What if it was my last child and whatnot? But the fact that I was forced, it was not, because we went to the doctor together and he even told the doctor, "No, I don't want this."
Sure.
even though the doctor said, no, it's your decision. But it was painful for me for someone to reject me or reject my child at that point.
Yeah. Sure, Cynthia, I'm sorry about that. That you are also put in such a difficult situation. Are you guys still together?
No,
You're not together.
I left him.
Oh, Cynthia, thank you so much for calling us and sharing your story. And I wish you healing. I hope that you can find a place in your heart to forgive yourself so that you're able to move on. And if you still want children, and you can find a partner, that's going to appreciate having children with you. Thank you so much for your call and for being brave enough to call us and share your story with us that you've never really shared with anyone. Let's go to some WhatsApps now.
Hi, Clement. I have 2 kids. My husband believes the young one is his, but I know it's not his. But yeah, I will die with that secret. It's very hard on me. But maybe when I die, I'll write a letter or something so that at least they will know. But yeah, I can't break a family over that. No, I can't.
Sure. Yeah. So you've got 2 kids with your husband. The youngest one is not his, and the husband doesn't know, and you're still married. So I imagine then there was cheating then involved, right? You conceived with someone else, but so tricky. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I would have loved to talk to you more if you called, because I wonder what the next plan is. Like, do you want to tell the child at some point? Do you feel like you owe the young one who's not your husband's child the truth? And where's the father of the child? Where's the father of your younger child that your husband believes it's his? Is he interested in taking part? Does he even know that he has a child? Yeah, that is so tricky. I hope you can find a solution to that. That is quite tricky.
Good morning, Clement. Nani here. There's something that I've kept a secret for a while. From my woman, from my wife, and from my family. I happen to have a child outside. Since the boy was born, I've kept it in. I didn't know how to open up and tell people around me, family. But I've been taking care of this child, but I've kept him away from my family. I know it's somehow weird, but that is where I find myself. I've kept it a secret that I have a child with this person, so place. Great show. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And I want to remind you that this is not a place for judgment whatsoever. We're trying to create a space of honesty, and just because there are a lot of people that are carrying things that are difficult, and these things are eating them inside, and they've never really shared them with anyone. And really, this is an opportunity for us to start that healing process and start even forgiving ourselves for some of even the mistakes we've made. And if you have a child that you have hidden from your wife, how are you managing it? And I mean, I hear what you're saying, that you've been supporting the child, you're taking care of the child, but sure, that must be a lot of admin. Because when do you see the child? And doesn't your wife sometimes call you when you're trying to spend time with that child? And is the mother of the child okay with that arrangement? I hope you can find a solution at some point, whether to sit down with your wife or, I don't know, to try and introduce your child to your family. But I really hope that you can find a resolution to the secret that you've been holding for so many years and haven't shared with anyone, more so your family. It's 10:30. Siso has the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Hello.
Thanks, Clements. Good morning. Former IDEC head Andrea Johnson has defended the unit's decision to prosecute suspended National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola. Masemola is facing 4 charges of contravening Section 38 of the Public Finance Management Act. This section places a legal responsibility on senior government officials to ensure proper financial management and prevent irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure within their departments. Johnson is wrapping up her testimony at the Madlanga Commission. Eastern Cape Emergency Services are on the scene of a deadly crash on the N2 at the Gamtus Hill involving 2 cash and transit vehicles and another car. The route has been closed in both directions as rescue, recovery and crash investigation operations continue. The Eastern Cape Transport Department says 1 person has died and 2 security guards have sustained injuries. And more than 1,000 employees at cutting-edge AI companies have signed a petition calling on the U.S. government to help slow down the release of the most advanced AI models. The petition requests that U.S. government support an international effort to develop the technical and governance tools needed to deliberately pace the frontier of automated AI development. And those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Traveling on the N1 South, we've got delays. This is between Allendale Road and the Baku interchange. That's due to an accident. There's also queuing traffic on the N1 North between Malibongwe Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive. That's due to an accident as well. So please approach with care. If you are traveling on the Markwan North, bumper-to-bumper traffic right at the Crown turn off. There's also queuing traffic on the N12 West between Edenville Road and the Kilulis interchange. We'll have more updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Strong communities are built on a strong local government. Every day, municipalities work to deliver the essential services that improve lives and support thriving communities across South Africa. As the voice of local government, SALGA represents, supports, and empowers municipalities to build capable institutions, promote good governance, and advance effective service delivery. SALGA, inspiring service delivery.
Stand a chance to win a share of a red-hot 3 million rand with the Hollywood Bets Spinner Zonke jackpot race. Enter the chase and enjoy a feast of fun where every spin could unlock riveting rewards. To start your adventure, bet 2 rand or more on selected habanero games every Wednesday, Friday and Saturday between 8:30 and 10:30 p.m. The racing revolution starts now. Dive in and prepare to take top spot. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Some parcels are more than parcels. They're gifts, opportunities, supplies, and moments people are counting on. That's why CourierIt makes it easy to book, send, and track your parcel online, moving it from your door to anywhere nationwide. And with 2,700 pickup points, sending has never been more convenient. With real-time visibility, reliable delivery, and people who care, we help you deliver what matters. Move it with CourierIt, because your parcel deserves more. Sign up on courierit.co.za.
7:02
Healing Hour.
10:33 on our healing hour this morning. We're healing from the secrets that we have kept from our loved ones. And I want to know from some of you that have since disclosed your secrets to those very same loved ones. How has life been afterwards? Did you find that they shamed you, they chased you away, or were they more receptive? Whatever secret it is, whether it's an abortion that, like a listener, you were forced to do, or maybe it's like that woman who called us before the headlines who says, I've got 2 kids, the youngest is not my husband's, and I still haven't said anything to anyone. So this is a child that was conceived from an extramarital affair, and now she says, I'm probably going to write a letter when I die. What are the secrets that you have been carrying for so long, and what's the plan? Are you going to the grave with them, and why? Or are you hoping that one day an opportunity will be created for you to share and disclose that? Let's go to Lerato, who's calling us from Kempton Park. Lerato, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right, Lerato. How are you doing?
Okay, so I'm a married woman.
Mm-hmm.
I've had two terminations, abortions,
Hmm.
and my husband doesn't know about it.
Okay.
And the only thing that he knows, he thought that I got a miscarriage. I got miscarriages.
With the two pregnancies.
Yes. And my reason for that is because I could see that the situation is not okay, and he's got a problem with alcohol. And I could see that we've got one child, and I could see that no, it's not gonna work. But I can tell you right now, it's been years, but this thing is heavy on me. I'm even on depression medication. I was even admitted in a mental hospital because I regret. You understand? I
Yeah.
regret my decision, and carrying this secret, it kills me every day. Sometimes I do want to tell him, but me knowing my husband, things can turn very south. I know he was not going to allow me to do it.
Yeah.
I know. But then I could see the situation. The situation is still not good even now. Financially, we're still struggling. You understand?
Is he still drinking a lot?
Exactly. And he's not admitting that he's got a problem. And then raising kids in that kind of a situation, again, it's not okay. But this secret is killing me. And also, I regret my decision at the same time. And it's not easy. I don't want to lie to you. I'm still on a healing process. I want to forgive myself, but it's hard.
I can imagine, Lerato.
I'm suffering from anxiety. I'm suffering from depression. It's hard. I don't want to lie to you. I regret, and no one knows about it. But my husband knows that it was
A miscarriage.
Yes.
Are you happy though in your marriage, Lerato?
I'm definitely not happy. Besides everything, my husband is a good person. He's a very respecting person, but alcohol is the problem. Alcohol, he loses focus when he's drinking. He does mistakes. He listen. The only problem is alcohol, and alcohol is destroying everything. Alcohol is destroying our finances. Like, we are losing everything because of alcohol. He gets accidents. He sometimes they arrest him for drink and driving. Like, it's a lot.
I can understand. I mean, I can only imagine. I cannot even bring myself to understand that, Lerato. And I hope that he's going to get to a point where he's awakened and he realizes that he has to be a responsible man who's married and who's got a child and has got to think about you guys. But thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Lerato. And I wish you well in your journey of healing. This is really difficult, as you say, to keep a secret like that from your husband, because he still believes that you had 2 miscarriages, but it was actually abortions. And you've got your own reasons. I hope you can forgive yourself and be able to move on. And I really hope that your husband can also be awakened and stop drinking the way that he does, because it's affecting you as a family. Simpiwe, you are in the Northwest. Good morning.
Hey, Clement, how are you, my brother?
I'm all right, brother. How are you?
Yeah, such a difficult conversation to have, you know? Because it's threat, I'm telling you, hearing from Cecily Rato, yeah, I can attest to that. Keeping a secret is not an easy thing, my brother. Because the secret on its own, it eats you up slowly. You can never have joy keeping a secret, my brother. So mine was around 6 to 7 years back. I just found out that I was diagnosed with HIV, and then I had to think of my friends, family, my wife and children. So I couldn't bring myself up to tell them like immediately, because it took a very long time for me to be ready to talk to them, Clement. And then through that journey, I can tell you, my brother, a lot of things change in me, like your happiness, being around people, like people knows you as Clement, a jolly person who's always happy, like, all those changes. And people can also recognize, like, all right, there is something wrong about you, even though they cannot figure it out, but they can tell you, Chief, what's really happening with you. And then like, yourself knowing or what's really eating you up, and then you could not bring yourself up to talk to people like what's really hitting me hard, and then it's really horrible, my friend. It's really horrible, Clement. But
So
that's what the secret
did you
is.
end up telling your family about your
Yes,
HIV diagnosis?
eventually I did, and then for some few months it was not really that much easy, really. But with time, at least everything is normal. I can tell you now, Kore, I'm just like anybody.
Yeah.
Life is good, and then at least all accepted the situation and then work around it, really. But through those experiences, I can tell you. But yes, Clement.
Who did you tell? Was it is it your parents, your siblings, or partner?
Yeah, cause the first person whom I told my mom, cause it was the closest thing I had, cause at least
your mother.
I grew up with her, and then the father was not there really, but she was the first person who I sat her down, and then I tell her, even though like old people, they were shocked, then really.
Yeah, and
it was
and
horrible,
old
man.
people still think of AIDS in a different way, right, to how we think of it. Yeah, I got you. Spiwe in the Northwest, thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, I'm glad to also hear that after you disclosed the secret you've been carrying for a long time about your HIV diagnosis, then the family was more receptive and you felt some relief as well. And life has become much, much, much better for you. Thank you, Spiwe in the Northwest. Let's go to some WhatsApps.
Hi, Clement. I've kept the secret from my wife that I'm a masturbatist. I look at my wife every night and I just make an excuse that I need to go to the loo and I do it. Masturbatively speaking, I do 3 rounds at night, 4 rounds. In the morning before I go to work, I must just do it. Sometimes I do it without her realizing when we are engaging. At work, I go to the toilet twice a day and I just do that. You understand? So I don't know, Clement, I don't even have fingerprints anymore. Last I went to Department of Home Affairs because I lost my ID and they couldn't pick up my fingerprints. It's so sad because they're heated up, so I don't know what to do anymore. Yes, Clement, that's my secret.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if there's an expert who can help us understand the impact on the fingerprints. I'm not sure I'm understanding what the impact is. But yeah, Anonymous, I really hope that you can find help. And the reason I say that is because the minute the stuff that you do and you start doing more and more starts affecting your life, then that is an addiction. And addictions can only get worse. So addictions don't get better or they stay at the same level. If you're not doing anything about them, they can only get worse. So the only way here is up. So I hope that you can get some help, because beyond that being a secret you keep from your wife, you've got to find help, because next time you're going to leave a meeting at work and go do that in the workplace. And what if they find out? Maybe then you get fired, you get dismissed. Or what's going to happen the next time when you feel the edge so much that you want to do it there in the office in front of everybody else behind your desk, and somebody sees that. So it could land you in trouble and you could end up losing your job. So I hope that you can find some help. Talk to someone, find out who you can see, and maybe there's something they can help you with. Maybe you can replace that urge with something else. But please, please, please get some help, because I think you can handle maybe the secret when it comes to your wife. That's something you can handle later. But I think what's urgent now is you need to get some help. Otherwise, that's going to cause some serious, serious problems for you. And I really wish you the best in getting that assistance. Thank you so much for trusting us with what you've been carrying for so long as a secret. It's 15 minutes now, before 11.
Uncertainty is rising, but your business still has to deliver. Production targets need to be met. And when your workforce is out of balance, the cost is immediate. Too many employees, costs climb. Too few, productivity drops. Workforce Staffing helps businesses stay in control with flexible workforce solutions deployed within 48 hours nationwide. When demand changes, your workforce can change with it. Visit workforcestaffing.co.za. Stay productive, stay flexible, stay in control.
Dad, how come Mom's not coming to my soccer game?
Well, Mom isn't allowed to come to your soccer games anymore.
Is it because she tried to tackle Coach KB for giving me a red card?
Maybe.
Humans who fiercely protect the people they love. Welcome. Search Liberty Protect to protect your life and legacy today. Liberty, in it with you, all of you. Liberty Group Limited, a licensed life insurer, an authorized FSP, and part of the Standard Bank Group. T's and C's, risks and limitations apply.
This past Sunday, tens of thousands showed up to walk with the people for our Josie in the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk. Thank you for taking the scenic route with us, creating unforgettable memories, and showing the world that Joburg is more than just a city. It's a remarkable energy that connects us all. Here's to Joburg, here's to us, here's to 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, Babize Bonke, hosted by the city of Johannesburg. More on primemediaplus.com.
702
Healing Hour.
All right, it's now 14 minutes before 11 o'clock. We are doing the Healing Hour. It's our monthly feature. And if you didn't know about the Healing Hour, it's a feature that we introduced a few years ago, I think 5 years ago. And what we do once a month is we come together and we have conversations among ourselves. It's a safe space, no judgment. This is a space for you to share your pain, to share your shame, to share whatever you are experiencing. And we normally have things we heal from every time we have the feature once a month. And I've opened the door for you to also suggest some things to heal from. So thank you for all your suggestions, and thank you for the feedback you've given us around the Healing Hour and how you've been impacted by it. Today, we've been healing from the secrets that we have kept from our loved ones. And I've got lots of WhatsApps and messages that have come through. So before I go back to more of your calls on 011-883-0702, let me read some of the WhatsApp texts. In fact, before I start with the WhatsApp text, there's an email we got from Anonymous who says, "Hi Clement, a trusted family friend impregnated me when I was very young and naive. He gave me money to do an abortion and arranged everything. I could never tell anyone about it as I grew up. I could never tell anyone about it because as I grew up, because of how trusted he was and still is. I went through counseling and prayed for myself about the experience. Please keep me anonymous." Yeah, Anonymous, thank you so much. And this is what we were talking about, was it a week ago, where there are certain people who are carrying secrets, painful ones, and they can't really tell their family about them because the person who is, let's say, use this example, this is a very trusted family friend who's impregnated a very young and naive child and then forces them to do an abortion. How does this child even begin to sit their parents down and say, "Hey, this person has done 1, 2, 3 to me"? You can't, because this is a respected man. Can you imagine a family pastor and you say that about the family pastor? And that's why I think our attitudes as families need to change. We need to create safe spaces for our children to come to us with whatever pains them. We're raising children that are carrying difficult things that they're scared to tell you about because they don't know whether you're going to be on their side or not. And I think that's an indictment on us as families. Anonymous, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I wish you strength, because I can only imagine how difficult it must be to go back home at a funeral or umsebenzi, or maybe there's an event taking place and this respected person who impregnated you when you were young is there. And you must still greet them and act as if everything is normal. That's unfair for you. Mary on the WhatsApp line says, "Hi Clement, I was unfaithful in my marriage a very long time ago, and I finally confessed and asked my partner for forgiveness. I prayed and asked God for forgiveness, and I know I received it. But as a Christian, I knew I had to confess it to my husband. So I did. Much hurt was and still is felt, and I am not forgiven, by my partner. But confessing has released the burden of the secret, and I no longer have anxiety or guilt. I have peace and rest from God. Confession is necessary and a commandment from God, no matter the consequence. That's a message there from Anonymous. Anonymous, I would have loved to know where things are with your husband now. If you say he hasn't forgiven you for cheating on him, are you guys still married? Is he still around? And then another one says, Anonymous here, Clement, as a family, we are assisting a family member keep a secret from his newlywed wife, and it's tearing the family apart. He has numerous children, and his wife doesn't know. She thinks her son is their only child. But you see, Anonymous, thank you for sharing that. But you see, as a family, you need to sit as well and think and ask yourselves whether you are doing this person even a favor, because then you are assisting him in keeping a secret from his new wife. And when the wife finds out, and secrets have a way of coming out, when the wife finds out that you as a family have kept a secret from him and pretended, all of you, like this is the only child that this man has with this wife, then that's going to affect the relationship between you and this wife, because you are assisting in keeping that secret. And maybe, I'm not suggesting here that you go and just start telling her, because I imagine the man in this case is your family member. Maybe you need to start engaging him about the importance of coming clean, especially if he plans to spend the rest of his life with this person, with this woman. Another one says, Clement, Anonymous here, I have been keeping a secret, my HIV status, from my partner. We started dating a year ago, and when I told her that I don't drink and smoke, she said that people that don't drink and smoke are HIV positive. I don't know how to start this conversation with her. Yeah, Anonymous, thank you. Yeah, that is so tricky, because there's issues of safety for your partner as well. It's important, maybe the day the partner finds out, they may feel betrayed, because all they've always wanted to do is make sure that they are safe with you, even sexually, right? Because I imagine when you've got an HIV diagnosis, there are extra precautions that you need to take. And in this case, your partner is unable to even protect themselves because you have not shared this with them. So I hope you can find a way, and I get why you would be so nervous to share that, but I hope you find a way to start that conversation. It's 7 minutes now before 11 o'clock. After the break, we'll wrap up with more of your calls and WhatsApps.
Because behind every blood donation is a future still unfolding. A child's first day at school, a first job, a dream business, a first drive. For 25 years, blood donors have made these moments possible. In just 30 minutes, give someone another tomorrow. Be the lifeline. Give blood. Give it tomorrow. The South African National Blood Service.
In the 1960s, Douglas Engelbart had a thought. What if you could jump from one idea to another with just a click? That question led him to pioneer how hypertext would work. And this laid the foundation of how we navigate the internet today. See, whether you're reinventing the future or building something new, you need the right foundations to start. At Ex-Nihilo, we give you the right foundation to host your big idea. Ex-Nihilo, trusted in hosting.
Looking to save money on your business insurance? Well, switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance and you could save a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Switch today and get a guaranteed non-escalating premium for 12 months. Even if you claim for convenience stores, restaurants, beauty salons, pharmacies, and all other businesses, make the smart business move and switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance today. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's and information online.
702
Healing Hour.
It's 5 minutes now before 11 o'clock. We're just about to wrap up our conversation on our Healing Hour this morning. And thank you to all of you that have been brave enough and honest enough with yourselves to share the stuff that you have not shared with anyone. I appreciate how difficult that must be for you, but I also know that this is one of the ways we start healing. So I really wish you healing. I wish that as you start this journey of healing, you're also able to forgive yourself for some of the mistakes that you have made. Let's go to this WhatsApp on 0727021702. Or before we get to it, let me read this message from Banele, who says, "Hi Clement, Banele here in Stonehenge in Nelspruit. My secret is that I'm married to a woman with 2 kids, and yet I'm gay. I can't tell my family because they are very much homophobic. I have a boyfriend whom my wife thinks he's a good friend of mine. I don't know what to do. I'm scared that the secret might come out." Sure. Yeah, so Banele has 2 kids. He's married to a woman. He says he can't tell his family because they're quite homophobic. And he has a boyfriend. The wife knows the boyfriend. And the wife thinks the boyfriend is a good friend of Banele. And he doesn't know what to do. And at some point, Banele, as we've been saying throughout this hour, secrets have a way of coming out. And I hope that you can find yourself. You know, one of the things you learn as you grow older is that you can't live for your family. You have to live for yourself. And those are the lessons as we grow older we learn, is you don't have much time on earth. And to spend that time living for other people because you're worried about how they're going to receive who you are is not going to benefit you at all. So your entire life you would have lived it falsely trying to appease people that are homophobic. And maybe this is now the time for you to take and put yourself first, as difficult as that may be. And maybe you're going to lose some family members, but maybe you need to put yourself first and experience love in an enriching way. I really hope that you can find a solution to live your life. Banele, in Nelspruit.
Hi, 702 family. My secret that I have, I've been cheating for my wife with this lady for about 10 years now. Me and my wife, we love each other. And I do love this girl. So we've been cheating for almost 10 years now. And I don't know, it's difficult. We tried several times to separate me and this lady, but it's not working. It's not working, and I don't believe in polygamy. So I can't have 2 wives, but I love this lady. So yeah. Thank you, 702.
Yeah, you're all the best, Anonymous. I mean, if you've been cheating on your wife for 10 years with this person, I mean, at this stage now, it's like she's now almost like the second wife, so to speak. That would be so heartbreaking then to your wife. And I don't know, I'm sure it seems like the person you're cheating on your wife with seems to know that you're married, I'm assuming. That's the impression I'm getting, but I hope you can find a solution to that, because that's not sustainable at all. And maybe you need to be honest with yourself. If you're not happy with your wife, then maybe it's time to move on. As difficult as it may be and as consequential as it may be, maybe it's time to move on. Because otherwise there are a lot of people that are going to be hurt if it continues like that. So I hope you can find a solution to that. I'm going to wrap up with this message from Anonymous on the WhatsApp line, who says, "Hi Clement, I'm carrying a secret from my son, and I've been carrying this secret for 49 years. I cannot tell him that his father raped me when I was 15 years old. I love my son. That's a message from Anonymous. Sure. Yeah. And then imagine the son comes home and has a relationship with the dad and wants to tell you about the date they had with the father, and I'm assuming that you're not with the father of your child now. But they probably have a relationship and you have to keep this away from him. Anonymous, I hope you can start healing. And I think your child, who I'm sure loves you so much, would probably be open to having that conversation with you. It's 11 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Former IDEC head Andrea Johnson has defended the unit's decision to prosecute suspended National Police Commissioner Fanny Masemola. Masemola is facing 4 charges of contravening Section 38 of the Public Finance Management Act. The section places a legal responsibility on senior government officials to ensure proper financial management and prevent irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure within their departments. Masemola is accused of failing to follow due process in relation to a 360 million rand SAPS Health Services tender, which was awarded to a company linked to alleged crime boss Vusmuzi Kat Matlala. Alfara Mushwana has more.
At the end of her testimony before the Madlanga Commission yesterday, former IDEC head Andrea Johnson was given homework by the commissioners to present when proceedings resumed today. She was asked to consider overnight whether IDEC had acted within its legal mandate when it charged suspended National Police Commissioner Fanny Masemola with contravening the Public Finance Management Act. When asked to provide her response this morning, Johnson maintained that IDEC had acted well within its legal mandate to charge him.
As the accounting officer, you need to stop the contract and therefore stop the payment. It took him a long time to do so. In not acting, monies were in fact then paid out because of these unlawful corrupt activities.
However, Chairperson Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga put it to Johnson that it made little sense to pursue standalone PFMA charges against Masemola without additional criminal charges. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Johnson's testimony continues. The SAPS National Counterfeit and Illicit Goods Unit is at this hour leading what they call a major enforcement operation in Johannesburg's inner city. The intelligence-driven crackdown is targeting businesses suspected of trading in counterfeit and illegal goods. Dozens of police officers have been deployed alongside Gauteng traffic wardens and private security in what's expected to be a large-scale operation. Mongezi Koko is in the CBD and joins us now live. Mongezi, what's the situation there?
So, police have just wrapped up a final operational briefing at the Mary Fitzgerald Square in Newtown before moving into the Johannesburg CBD. Authorities have kept the details of today's operation tightly under wraps to protect its integrity, with target locations and suspects identified through intelligence. As we saw, convoys of police vehicles are now standing by, with officers expected to move on multiple locations as the operation gets underway. A heavy law enforcement presence remains on standby to deal with any resistance or attempts to disrupt the raids. We'll continue to follow developments on the ground and bring you the latest as the operation unfolds. Monkey Ziko, Eyewitness News, reporting live in the Johannesburg CBD.
Eastern Cape Emergency Services are on the scene of a deadly crash on the N2 at Gamtoos Hill involving 2 cash-in-transit vehicles and another car. The route has been closed in both directions as rescue and recovery efforts continue. The Eastern Cape Transport Department says 1 person has died and 2 security guards sustained injuries. Department spokesperson Unati Pingose.
While the exact cause of the crash remains under investigations, preliminary investigations point to dangerous driving behavior. We once again appeal to all motorists to obey the rules of the road.
The crash comes a day after 6 people died in a collision on the N2 near Moy Plus yesterday. And more than 1,000 employees at Cutting Edge AI companies have signed a petition calling on the U.S. government to help slow down the release of the most advanced AI models. The petition requests that the U.S. government support an international effort to develop the technical as well as governance tools needed to deliberately pace the frontier of automated AI development. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, who did not sign the petition, argues that developers of artificial intelligence models might need to voluntarily pump the brakes on their rapid advances to give society a chance to catch up. Among the signatories were the head of research at OpenAI, the strategic lead of Google's AI subsidiary DeepMind, and the chief scientist at Meta AI. Altman's company, the makers of ChatGPT, recently saw two of its models carry out an autonomous cyber attack, bypassing security protocols meant to prevent such an incident. Gold is trading at $4,041.57 an ounce. The rand is at 16.72 to the dollar, 22.23 to the pound, 19.05 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $87.42 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 North. This is between Malibongwe Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive. That's due to an accident. There's also an accident scene reported heading towards the Joburg CBD along Albertina Sisulu Road. It's right near Betram's Road. It's causing heavy delays. Please try to avoid that one. And then traveling in Bedford View, we've got roadworks taking place along the N3 North approaching the Kilulis interchange.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with isolated showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 17 and 20 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Former IDEC head Andrea Johnson has defended the unit's decision to prosecute suspended National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7 and 106 FM.
Seven minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumela, welcome to the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. Thank you for staying with us here on 702. And a special thank you to all of you that contacted us, sharing your secrets. Thank you for being brave enough to call us and for sending your WhatsApp voice notes. I tell you, there are many people listening right now who may not have been brave enough or had the capacity to call, but when they hear you going through something similar to what they're going through, that makes them realize that they're not the only ones. And that can be the beginning of their own healing journey. So thank you for contributing towards the beginning of healing for so many people out there who listened and were unable to talk, but they themselves are carrying secrets from their loved ones. So thank you for those engagements. So we told you earlier on about tickets we're going to be giving away to the Scatterlings Music Festival brought to you by 702. It's happening this Saturday, so you must get ready for an incredible celebration of culture, of connection, of music, featuring Zakes Bantwini. We've got Sjava as well, Sanel musician, Jay Something, Msaki, Jesse Clegg, Simi, Trezor, Smino Fuzo, Lani Mahola, and many more. And this is your chance now to win 4 tickets. And I've been asking you this week to just name one of the featured artists by sending us a WhatsApp voice note, including your name and your ID number. And I'm happy to tell you that we have called one of the potential winners this morning. And on the line, we've got Andre, who is in Edenvale. Andre, good morning.
Hi, morning, Clement.
So, I'm good, Andre. Who is that one artist that will be performing at Scatterlings Music Festival?
Jesse Clegg.
Jesse Clegg, it is indeed, Andre. Andre is one of those that sent us a message on WhatsApp yesterday. Well, congratulations to you, Andre. You've won 4 general access tickets to Scatterling's Music Festival, brought to you by 702. Remember, you can also WhatsApp one of the featured artists to 072 702 1702. Include your name and your ID number, and Relebohile Mabocha could be calling you back. T's and C's apply. 702. Let's walk the talk.
Burning questions.
Insightful answers.
Listener's choice.
With Clement Manyathela.
10 minutes now after 11 o'clock, and it's time now for our Listener's Choice feature. Listener's Choice is an opportunity for us to have you co-curate the content of the show with us. So there are lots of things that we decide with the team what to talk about on the show, but Listener's Choice is an opportunity for you to suggest to us what we should talk about. So what has been suggested to us this morning is pension benefits and when they can be withheld. So we're discussing the circumstances under which an employee's pension benefits can be withheld. Remember, Advocate Andrea Johnson's resignation as the head of IDEC amid the explosive testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, that has reignited a familiar question. When someone in public office leaves under a cloud, should their pension go with them? So as pressure mounted for her suspension and for consequences over her conduct, questions were put directly even to the Justice Minister, Mamuluku Kubai. I had her on the show this week, and I asked her if Andrea Johnson's retirement benefits are going to be withheld, because that's a question that a lot of you were asking. And the minister confirmed that since Andrea Johnson is resigning, she's going to keep her pension, because there's no legal basis to withhold benefits that she had already earned since she resigned rather than being dismissed. So that answer sits alongside a string of very different, well-publicized cases in which the state did succeed in freezing a senior official's pension. For instance, think of the former public protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane. Didn't she have her pension withheld after Parliament made findings against her? And yeah, this is of course different because Andrea Johnson, there's no adverse findings yet against Johnson. But she's also clever because she's resigning before the Madlanga Commission issues its final report. And my friend, I'm sure you can tell that that's going to be so scathing on Andrea Johnson. So if that outcome comes when she is still the head of IDEC, I suspect that there may have been a commission of inquiry into her fitness to hold office if she insisted on staying on the job. And she was probably going to end up with a situation where there are multiple adverse findings against her, and maybe then her pension gets affected in a way. I don't know. But she's resigned, and as a result, there's nothing the government can do. So what exactly does the law require before any employee's pension, whether you're in the public or private sector, can actually be withheld? And why not every resignation under scrutiny meets that bar? And I want to know from you if your employer has ever tried to withhold your pension or provident fund payout when you left a job. How did you resolve that? Right? What was your experience? Maybe you had a dispute over your retirement benefits after resigning or being dismissed. 011-883-0702 is the number to dial. WhatsApp's 072-702-1702. Advocate Tetius Vessels is the managing director at Strategy Labor Solutions. He's going to guide us through this conversation. Advocate Vessels, thank you for making time. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and good morning to the listeners as well. Always blessed to be on your show.
Why are pension and provident fund benefits so strongly protected under South African law in the first place?
I think what we often forget is that the fund does not belong to anyone else but the member. So it is the member's money at the end of the day. And because there's such a variety of claims that can potentially want to come after an employee's pension, it has to be so strictly regulated, because otherwise everybody is going to want to put their hand in the cookie jar to get something out of it.
Mm-hmm. So there's been a lot of debate and, tensions rising even from those debates around Andrea Johnson resigning versus well, the public protector had adverse findings against her being impeached, and then the state having access to withholding her pension. And I want to find out from what the law actually says, like under what circumstances then can an employer ask a retirement fund to withhold an employee's benefit?
Right. I think the first point of call is that, number one, the employer can never instruct a fund to so-called freeze the pension, right? The fund's board must exercise a discretion under the Act and under their very own rules in as far as when they are going to temporarily withhold someone's benefits. Now, in particular, we look at Section 37D of the Pension Fund Act, and that tells us specifically when the fund may withhold or deduct monies from a member's benefit. So that act says that the deduction or the deductible compensation owed to employer may be for damages caused by the member through theft, dishonesty, or fraud or misconduct, and where there is a written admission of liability by the member, or there's a judgment against the member by a court of law. So it's very, very specific. You cannot withhold monies for every type of misconduct that's been committed by an employee. It must be specific, and it must relate to theft, dishonesty, fraud, etc. And then you've got the other two qualifying criteria, which is either an acknowledgement, a written acknowledgement by the member themselves or the employee, or an actual court judgment. And those are the circumstances when the monies may be withheld. Now, obviously, the question is that in many cases, you might not have even proven that the person is guilty of a particular offence. And then the question is, if the employee then resigns, can't you touch it? And that's not the case. If you can show that there was an investigation, you've reported a matter to the South African Police Services, it's being investigated, etc., then the fund may withhold that benefit until the final determination is then made.
Okay, so it's for specific misconduct. So you mentioned theft, dishonesty, and others. So something like gross negligence, that can't be enough to justify withholding.
No. So gross negligence in itself is not sufficient for the withholding. There was various case law has dealt with this issue in the past, where it really tries and emphasizes that this mechanism that we have in terms of Section 37D of the Act is not there as a general debt collection method. Now, what you do often will find is that many employers, when they do structure a acknowledgement of debt with an employee, they will then also include a clause in terms of that acknowledgement of debt that should the individual leave the employee prior to having, settled their debt, that the employee then also gives authorization for deduction to be made from their pension benefit. But that becomes an informed, written admission, number one, of liability. And on that basis, they then try and also get the monies recuperated from the pension fund.
Okay, so as an employer, you've got to prove and provide certain documentations before a fund's board of trustees can agree to withhold that payout. So it's not a matter of just informing them of that misconduct, but you've got to support that and motivate for it. And then the board then has to decide whether they're convinced it's the right way to go.
Correct. So the fund weighs, there's a variety of factors that they consider, like you've outlined. And one of it is, what's the evidence that you have? Can you show a prima facie case of the alleged wrongdoing, etc.? Where are you? and those, then only will they make a decision on to withhold or not.
Okay. What rights does an employee have, though, to challenge or make representations against a decision to withhold that benefit?
So from an employee perspective, probably the most cost-effective and the easiest way would obviously be to lodge a complaint with the pension fund adjudicator. Now, what then normally would happen is they would acknowledge the complaint. They would then write to the employer and ask the employer to respond to the allegation in writing. And based on those written submissions, the pension fund adjudicator will normally then determine whether the monies can be withheld or cannot be withheld.
Okay. 20 minutes after 11 o'clock. I've got some questions coming from our listeners on 011-883-0702. Send your WhatsApps as well. What has your experience been if you've had a dispute perhaps at work over your retirement benefit after resigning or after being dismissed? Has your employer ever tried to withhold your pension or provident fund payout when you left a job? And as an employer, under what circumstances have you tried to withhold, or have you approached the fund board of trustees with all your documentations to try and get a pension or provident fund withheld? Have you done that before as an employer? Let me know. 072-702-1702 is the number, is the WhatsApp line. It's 21 after 11.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
Is it quite common for police to say, look, we didn't have a warrant, but we had reasonable grounds to believe evidence might be destroyed?
Yes, we see it quite often in court cases on a daily basis, that police enter premises on that reasonable suspicion that they hear incriminating evidence, which is then later used during a trial, on condition that the witness can prove to the court that they had the reasonable suspicion that it would have been destroyed if they weren't granted access.
Ulrich Roo, founder and managing director of Ulrich Roo.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
The world's best male and female paddle players are coming to South Africa. The historic Premier Paddle Pretoria P1 will be at Sunbet Arena Times Square from 26 July to the 2nd of August. Expect world-class action, unbelievable energy, premium hospitality, and an atmosphere unlike anything South African sport has seen before. This is Africa's biggest paddle tournament ever, and tickets are selling fast. Don't miss your chance to witness the sport's biggest stars in South Africa. Get your tickets now at primemediaplus.com.
Big advances in health are happening right here in South Africa. Local researchers are studying a new TB vaccine called M72 that could help stop people from getting seriously ill. And programs like Coach Mpilo are helping men living with HIV overcome stigma, start treatment, and stay on it through peer support and private chat guidance. It's South Africans helping shape the future of global health, supported by the Gates Foundation for 25 years. Partners of human potential.
In case you're on the highway, driving to your first big maize delivery, and something mysterious happens. You stop at the garage to scope the damage. You realize the fuel system is kinda dear my car. You panic. But then you take a deep breath. Because you know Hino Care Gap Cover is there to cover anything outside the standard 6-year warranty. From steering columns to ABS control modules, it's the unseen essential in your business. Speak to your Hino dealer. T's and C's apply. Hino, all the way.
The Johannesburg Philharmonic's early spring season features world-class international conductors and soloists performing with our finest musicians. The program includes favorites by Tchaikovsky, Mozart, and more. Thursday evenings at the Linda Auditorium from 13 August to 3 September at 7:30 p.m. Tickets available at Quicket.
702 is in conversation with Capitec, discussing how South Africans can protect themselves against financial crime.
Criminals really seek out society's most vulnerable, and often what we've seen is often your older parents or family members who are lonely or looking for companionship. So we generally see the profile being people in their 50s, 60s and 70s who may have accessible savings and a bit of a pension fund they built up, and And they come from a generation where trust is built up through conversation and consistent presence, right? And what we've seen, as you said, is that these scammers invest weeks and often months in building what feels like a genuine relationship without even mentioning the money. And this is probably the most dangerous component. That by the time the trap is sprung, that emotional bond is now real, and that person, the victim, really feels they're in a legitimate relationship. And really, what you need to understand is that it's not one person sending out random messages.
Yeah.
These are really organized syndicates with scripts, teams of operators, and they know the psychological weapons to deploy.
Slam the scam with Capitec. Capitec is an authorized financial services provider and registered credit provider.
Burning questions.
Insightful answers.
Listener's choice.
With Clement Manyathela.
25 after 11 on our Listener's Choice feature this morning, we're talking about the circumstances under which an employee's pension benefits can be withheld. And this is inspired by the debate that we have seen around Andrea Johnson, the head of IDEC, who has decided to resign. She's no longer the head of IDEC. And resigning means that she keeps her pension. I interviewed the Justice Minister, Mamoloko Kubai, this week, and she confirmed that there's nothing we can do. Under labor law, this is what she's earned. And some of you have pointed out to the former public protector, Busisiwe Mkhobane, whom the state successfully withheld her pension. And of course, the cases are different, their positions and how the matters were adjudicated. But I do think it's a legitimate question to ask. So we thought, in fact, one of our listeners thought, let's bring in an expert who can explain the circumstances under which an employee's pension benefits can be withheld. And that's exactly what Advocate Tertius Wessels has done, who's the managing director at Strategy Labor Solutions. He's the one guiding us through this conversation. So we've spoken about what the law says, the circumstances an employer can ask a retirement fund to withhold an employee's pension fund, the process that you have to follow for that to happen, but also the rights that an employee has to challenge or make representations against a decision to withhold that benefit. I wonder about how long the process takes now, Advocate Wessels. Like, how long can a fund withhold a benefit while a case against that former employee is still being decided? What governs that approach?
Yeah, so what we do find is that often some of these disputes do have a tendency to carry on for quite an extensive period of time. But provided that dispute is ongoing and a final determination has not been made, one has to appreciate and understand that the fund would be obligated to then still withhold until that final determination is made. Because at the end of the day, this whole provision in the Pension Fund Act that has been provided for would effectively become meaningless for employers if the fund was allowed to or was not forced to withhold the payment until the determination is made. Because as much as you and I might want our case to be finalized, unfortunately, we do not have control over the justice system, and we cannot be prejudiced for the delays in getting matters over the finish line.
So what happens to the withheld money if the employer's case against the employee ultimately fails? Is it a matter of just then, allowing access to those funds?
Correct.
And
so once that determination is made, then it will effectively either say, listen, yes, the employer does have a claim. This is the value of the claim, and they will then process the deduction, and that will be final, and the balance will be released, or they'll say there is no claim, thank you very much, and they'll release the full benefit. Yeah.
And if the employee then there's misconduct that's proven against them, let's say maybe through a parliamentary process, an inquest or a court case, then what happens to that money?
So again, that would be the damages portion for which the employer can, you'll put in your claim for whatever the value is of the damages caused by the dishonesty, the theft, etc. And that portion will then ultimately be deducted from the employee. Now, but important to understand as well is you've got two elements here. You've got in certain instances where either through a criminal process, you embark on a criminal procedure, and there's a ruling made by the court, or you might have a civil claim in itself also. So it doesn't necessarily have to always be, many people think it has to be a criminal case. It can be a normal civil action that also gets instituted.
Got you. Advocate Tertius Vessels, thank you so much for guiding us through this chat and clarifying what the law says. I think that does help us understand the differences in cases between what Andrea Johnson's context and Busisiwe Mkhwebane's context. And maybe what could have happened here is that you resist, not resist, but you decline her request to resign without serving notice, because if she serves notice, it's going to be 3 months. By then, I imagine the State Capture Commission has sent out its final report, perhaps, or maybe an interim report, another interim report, and then maybe that has got, because there are going to be adverse findings against her, and then you start approaching it from that matter. Maybe that's the chance that existed for her pension to be withheld. But as it stands now, she's resigning, the president has accepted that, and she's going to walk away with the pension. It's 11:30. Bali, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Former IDAC head Andrea Johnson has defended the unit's decision to prosecute suspended National Police Commissioner Fani Masemola. Masemola is facing 4 charges of contravening Section 38 of the Public Finance Management Act. The section places a legal responsibility on senior government officials to ensure proper financial management and prevent irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure. Lawyers for the DA have argued that recent decisions by the Speaker of the City of Tshwane were unlawful and masqueraded as decisions taken by Council. The party has taken the City of Tshwane and its Speaker to the Pretoria High Court to overturn 2 recent Council decisions. Earlier this month, Council voted to place City Manager Johan Metler on precautionary suspension based on a complaint lodged against him by the EFF. And the police's counterfeit and illicit goods unit is leading an enforcement operation in Johannesburg's inner city. The crackdown is targeting businesses suspected of trading in counterfeit goods. Dozens of police officers have been deployed alongside Gauteng traffic wardens as well as private security. Well, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Heading towards the Joburg CBD, we've got some delays on Albertina Sisulu Road. That's as you approach Betram's Road. That's due to an accident. Please be on the lookout there or try to use alternative routes. While traveling on the N12 and the R24 West, we've got delays towards the Gilulis interchange. There's also queuing traffic on the N3 North approaching the Gilulis interchange. That's due to roadworks along this route. While heading towards Woodmead, some delays on the N1 South approaching the Baku interchange. That's due to an earlier accident. Please be on the lookout there. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The Sharing Space
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
11:33. It's time for the sharing space. So sharing space is where we share our stories. Maybe it's something fun that happened or something quite distressing, or maybe you need advice from our listeners and you want to share your story and get advice from them. Or maybe because you want to know if they've been in the same situation as you have been. So all you have to do if you want to share your story with us, send me an email on cm@702.co.za. So you know the drill. I'll play a WhatsApp voice note today of a story that's being shared with us, and then afterwards I'll come to your calls and your WhatsApps. Let's take a listen.
Hi Clement, I'm a man in my late 30s and I live alone. I have a helper who comes twice a week to clean my place, do my laundry and iron for me. You know, she has been doing this for me for over a year now. Previously my aunt used to help me, but duila kula, like she fell ill. And my helper is very thorough in how she cleaned the house. And it's always spotless actually. She's also quite motherly and takes great care of my home. Mara bothata ke ebe man, like I have a problem. She has been causing damage to some of my clothes and how she washes and irons them. I'm not sure it will happen, but hey man, her manner of handling my clothes has reduced its quality. I buy the correct washing powder, for example, fabric softener and other essentials for the laundry process to be seamless. Mara, I am so confused in how it happens that my shirts have random stains, my pants seems to be losing color, and in jeans as well, which is weird. And overall, like my clothes just don't look good at all. I pride myself in buying quality clothing, and without mentioning brands, guys, my clothes are not that cheap, eh? So I'm now worried, hore, like, she's doing my laundry. Mara, I also value her contribution to the household in other aspects. So how do I raise my concerns with her without offending her? Ke stressed, man.
Okay, so there's a helper who has messed up your clothes. So let's start with the positive. So Anonymous says, I've got a helper who's quite thorough, leaves the house spotless, takes good care of the home. So her contribution is valued, right? But the downside here is that the helper damages this chap's clothes. Like the quality of clothes have been affected, and he says, I've bought her whatever she needs. Like even the specific washing powder I get her what she needs to preserve my clothes and wash and know that these are the ones I wash with hand or with this specific soap. And still, even with that, she's not getting it right. So Anonymous is asking, how do I raise this with her without coming across as if I'm without, of course, getting her to take offense? And I'm not sure if you can avoid that, Anonymous, because she's likely to take offense either way. So I'd like to hear from you. What advice would you give Anonymous here? And do you think Anonymous is overreacting? I don't think so, because I have faced the same situation before, with someone who works at the house who sometimes messes up the clothes. And how I've dealt with it now is sensitive. The clothes I know are sensitive. I'll put them like in, let's say if you have a separate basket, you put them there, and then you tell them that these are the clothes that you are going to wash with your hand, or you're going to use this specific method to wash them. Guys, I can't tell you how many times I open the wardrobe, I try to wear a shirt, and it looks like my 4-year-old niece's shirt. Why? Because it was put in the machine and it's not supposed to be washed like that. It's happened so many times. And that can be frustrating, as the listener says. Many people are, of course, investing in quality clothes, and for that to be reduced to a small piece because it was put into a machine and the instructions are very clear that you shouldn't do that, that can be hectic. So how do you deal with that? I've only just said, hey, this thing, you must wash it like this. Because it's also unfair to then say, okay, this is how much the shirt costs and you've ruined it, therefore I take money from your salary. I don't know. I don't think that's the right approach to take. I think give someone an opportunity to learn, because they may not know that what they've been doing is wrong, or they've made mistakes, or they haven't checked the instructions. So how do you raise it? Have you been in the same situation before? Have you raised it before? But also I want to hear from some people who work in homes as well. Like if you're a domestic worker, you are a helper, how do you manage that? Like sometimes when you make a mistake, are you open about it, or do you take offense when you are told this is how you must wash it? I always say, check the instructions, because it's always, the clothes have instructions. It's quite clear. So if you're not sure, rather check the instructions to be extra cautious. How do you deal with this, and what's your advice for Anonymous on how to handle this situation? It's 22 before 12. More of your calls and WhatsApps when we return.
You can become a victim of a legal problem: wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721.
Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Your boss noticed. Your ex noticed. The neighbors definitely noticed. Because some cars say, I rented a car. And some cars say, I rented the car. Sani Sixt Rent a Car. Premium rentals. For people who don't settle. Choose the right car. Rent Sani Sixt on sani.co.za.
Do you ever get that wake up, dress up, show up kind of energy? Well, it's final voter registration weekend. On the 1st and 2nd of August from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., registration stations open across South Africa. So show up and register to vote in the upcoming local government elections. Call 0800 11 8000. Visit elections.org.za or WhatsApp 0600 8800 for more info. This message is brought to you by the IEC.
Imagine a holiday where the only thing on the to-do list is enjoy yourself. With Norwegian Cruise Line, you can sail to over 400 destinations worldwide effortlessly. Visit ncl.com for the best deals or contact your travel agent today. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here. T's and C's apply.
The Sharing Space
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
7:02.
20 minutes before 12 o'clock. Let's go straight to your WhatsApps.
Clement, the guy or Longhorn is worried about the clothes quality or they're losing color and all that. Or the helper is doing a thorough job, but clothes are losing quality. It's not the fault, the helper. Most of us are experiencing the same thing. So the washing soaps, the recent ones, they put some detergent inside. They actually it's on as a contributor towards your clothes losing color and all those things. So it's not her fault. It's what the chemicals that have been put inside the soap, the washing soap itself. So we have experienced that, and if he can just do some investigations as a mochincha the washing soaps around, but mostly they come with more or less the same ingredients. So so it's not her fault at all. We also experiencing that, and we have experienced it for many years.
Hi, Clement, Litabo here. I just wanted to comment on this. I don't know if we as people have issues with giving feedback or receiving feedback, but I find usually when it comes to helpers, people don't know how to give feedback or are scared of giving feedback. Feedback doesn't mean someone is bad at their job. The listener is explaining that she's good at what she's doing, but at this moment, this one particular task, she's not doing well. So he should be giving feedback on that, not even judging all the other parts, just give feedback on the laundry part, because this is a person that is in your house and you need to be happy as an employer or somebody that is requiring service from her.
Yeah, I hear you. And also with feedback, I wonder, do you guys give like the people that work in your house like feedback, like on positive things as well? Because it's also weird to also come in and give feedback when they're getting stuff wrong. But if like Anonymous, you're happy that the house is spotless, they're thorough with their job, they take good care of the home, I think it's important to tell them or show them that you value that contribution. And I think when you come back then with something slightly negative as a feedback, then they know that I've gotten positive feedback from this employer before, so I'm going to take this, and do better. So do you also give feedback and show appreciation to whether it's your helper or maybe someone who does your garden, your driver, someone who works in your household? Let me know. Patricia, you are in Arcadia in Pretoria. Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Mhm.
After the walk, I'm recovering well.
Yeah. How many Ks did you do?
8.
Okay, 8 kilometers. All right. Good on you, Patricia. Yeah. What's your experience?
I've been with my helper for the past 11 years, and I suspect the lady is more into love language is cleaning, not the laundry. For years, I've suspected that my helper, because every time I will separate the hand and the machine laundry. And she knows that if I don't separate, she will wait for me to do that, even for kids. But lately she has been lacking, and then she put everything in the machine. We bought a jean that was rusty, and she never thought maybe it will come out color. And everything was a mess, was a terrible mess. And she said, I will buy that made me even more angry that for the past years we have been saying that maybe it's something else, it's not you messing up the clothes. And for her to say that she was going to buy what was expensive, I felt insulted. So I don't play with my clothes. I wash my expensive or sensitive clothes because we have talked about this for years, and
it's not getting better.
It's not getting better, and I'm not a fussy person. She grew up my 12-year-old now, so they even call each other my love. So I said, okay, I'll take this and leave the other stuff. I can do my own sensitive laundry.
Yeah, I think that's fair, Patricia. I think that's probably a strategy to take here, is just take ownership. Just like Patricia, the more expensive sensitive clothes you may have, then do them yourself if you see that things are not changing. Otherwise, you're going to sit with the same problem over and over again. Rob, you're in Midrand. What do you think? Hi.
Hi, Clement.
Sure.
So I have proof that it's not my domestic worker. Because I put my own white T-shirts into the wash without stains on them, just because I wore it, and it came out with stains. And I'm buying your Skip detergent off the shelf. I'm buying proper softener, Stay Soft, and I'm telling you, I'm sure it's the detergent. It can only be because I bought a new washing machine, and it still does it.
Okay.
So I really think that some investigation needs to go into the detergents, because it never used to happen. Can you imagine getting a T-shirt back with a great big brown spot on the front of it?
Got you. Yeah, got you, Rob. Thank you so much for raising that. And if there's any of you listening and you can relate to what Rob is saying, please let us know as well. AB, you are on the road. Good morning.
Clement, how are you doing, my
brother? Brother, how are you?
4 points here that I'd like to put across, Clement. The first point will be, has the gentleman advised the helper as to which program to use on the washing machine? Because we've got different programs on the washing machine.
Yeah.
Now, the second point will be the dosage on the detergent itself. What we have on the packet of the detergent is just by the guideline. It's not, cast in stone. Yes, they can say to you, put in, say, half a scoop, whereas you're only doing 2 items. So you're actually overdosing on detergent. So, like I said, it's only by the guideline as to the detergent story.
Yeah.
Yes, and the third... yes, Clement?
No, go ahead. Your third point?
The third point could be a fault with the washing machine itself. I'm talking from a point of being an appliance technician myself.
Okay.
It could be maybe the bearings on the seal on the bearings on the washing machine is gone. So you do have grease deposits going into the washing itself.
Okay, I see.
Yes, it could be that, yes. And the last point would be, once every 3 months, we advise clients to do a drum clean on the washing machine. How do you do a drum clean? Is there is a product that you'll buy from the supermarkets, a descaling product, and how you use it is you use your highest temperature wash to do that drum clean without any laundry. So if you keep on using your washing machine without doing the drum clean, you will have spots on your laundry, or either you will have a laundry that is not coming out clean at all. So we have to go back to the gentleman first, whether has he gone through like custom education kind of thing with the helper herself.
Oh, got you. AB, that's really valuable. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. More of your calls and WhatsApps after the break. It's 11 before 12.
Find your next design obsession at Decorex Joburg. From the 30th of July to the 2nd of August, the Sandton Convention Centre becomes the destination for the latest in decor and design. Explore over 450 exhibitors across 5 levels, inspiring talks and live demos, plus the property show by Private Property. Download the Decorex app and plan your visit today. Decorex Joburg, 30th July to 2nd August. Tickets at decorex.co.za and at the door.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craig Hall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
At Avis Car Sales, we sell cars. All cars. Compact cars, mommy cars, double cabs, 4x2s, 4x4s, minivans, drop tops, luxury sedans. When we say we sell cars, we sell cars. In Croydon, Kempton Park, Rivonia, and in our brand new showroom at 100 Puddingstone Road, Centurion, we sell cars. For over 40 years, inspected and serviced before they reach our floor and backed by the manufacturer's warranty. Finance? Yes. Trade-ins? Yeah, boy, yes. Check us out at abuscarsales.co.za.
The Sharing Space
on the Clement Manyathela Show.
702.
9 minutes before 12 o'clock. Let's start with your WhatsApps.
Hi, Clement. Oh, my OCD will never allow me. I am just on another level. I wash my own laundries. We do have a helper in my house, but she does the basic things like my vests, my socks, and stuff like that. But when it comes to my clothes, I do my own laundry. And with my bare hands, I don't even use the machine. I've got specific soaps that I use. I've got specific detergents. I just don't allow anybody, even my wife, knows that there's certain things that she puts on the side, and I'll deal with them later when I come back. So yeah, I've never been in that situation before, but I'm sure it's very traumatic, especially since he mentioned that clothes are very expensive, Clement, extremely expensive. So I try and take care of my clothing.
Good day, Clement. Great show as always. In the laundry issue, well, we mostly have our helper machine wash a lot of our clothes, but all of my husband's clothes I hand wash, because I used to do the thing of, hand wash this, machine wash this, and then they just end up machine washing everything and we back to square one. So now it's hand wash for all of his clothes. But now we have a new dilemma: the burning of random items during ironing. I mean, there's no saying it without sounding offensive or coming off as if, but you know how much you've invested in your clothing items, and it's just sad to see a silk item that was not supposed to be ironed in the first place then get burned. Then you start to question logic and common sense.
Hi, Clement. I don't know if it's a gentleman or a lady. You must talk to the helper. These people are human, and they do understand. It doesn't have to shout. You must sit with her and tell her what she has observed, and then maybe she can assist. I mean, I even help my daughter. If she's scared of talking to the helper, I talk to her and tell her that, you know what, maybe you can just help. If the mother is coming from work, you can help. You don't have to run to your room and sit there at 4 o'clock. You can help her because she cooks supper for you guys. You can help her maybe look after the kids until she's finished cooking supper. And she understands. I mean, these people are human. She won't get angry or whatever. Yeah, they do appreciate. If they're doing anything wrong, they do appreciate if you tell them, because they'll never know everything. I mean, I've been using washing powders. I always change. The other one doesn't wash properly. The other one, I know it blocks the machine. So I had to check which one is correct for my machine, And I found out that, skip it. doesn't really flow well in the washing machine. So I had to change it. Yeah, it's Veronica from Sprayview. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Veronica. Ntabi saying you are in Glen Vista. Hi.
Hi, Clement, and hope you are well. My advice is the following. My mom, when I grew up, they used to buy clothes at Great Clement, Starterford, Donos, those expensive clothes at the time. But then my training is that my mom used to say, don't wash your clothes every time. If you wash them, just wash on critical areas like the armpits, Maruhong, Kamotlasi, and it helps a lot. Then you just, with your hands, gently wash the other areas. But because you know already which part of areas that are maybe missing, that have been messed up a lot, then you are able to wash that. So you wash them strategically. And also on the washing machine, use the wool and delicates because it doesn't really affect your especially your other clothes. Linen also is very important to make sure that your linen as well, you soak it, then after that you can rinse them, and then you can wash on delicates after that. I know it's a lot of work, but it helps a lot. You'll find your clothes that for long you are not going to have issues with your clothes. But don't wash your clothes every time and every time because you wear them. Just a little bit on those critical areas.
Gotcha.
You'll save your clothes.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ntabi saying in Glen Vista.
Good morning, Clement. This is Selma from Roodepoort. Certain colors of clothes have to be washed separately, and whites have to be washed separately. Your jeans are probably losing color because your domestic is probably adding bleach to the wash, which you shouldn't do. You must never add bleach to a wash because then the clothes that shouldn't be bleached also get bleached. I think that is the problem. So just make sure there's no bleach in the house that she can get it, and maybe things will improve. And tell her that she has to wash different color clothing separately. Thanks for a lovely show. Bye.
When Joburg came together in the iconic CBD for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, unforgettable moments were made, and none of it would have been possible without our incredible partners.
My name is Lerato Masepe, and I am the Senior Events and Activations Manager at Proudly SA. I really love Walk the Talk this year because it really gave us a beautiful vibe. Today it gave me a sense of what I'm missing out, which I definitely am going to go back and see myself. And as Proudly SA, I am coming back here next year because we like supporting initiatives like this that impact on the economy as well as job creation. Well done, 702.
Thank you to all our partners who showed that great things happen when Joburg comes together for the 702 Josie My Josie Walk the Talk, hosted by the City of Johannesburg.
Your boss noticed. Your ex noticed. The neighbors definitely noticed. Because some cars say, I rented a car. And some cars say, I rented the car. Sani 6 to rent a car. Premium rentals. For people who don't settle. Choose the right car. Rent Sani 6 on sani.co.za.
Whether it is a CCMA referral, problems with a mechanic, unfair blacklisting, or an uncontested divorce, Clientele Legal offers professional legal services to all South Africans. Our plans are affordable, and you receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. We cover civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Our nationwide legal teams are standing by to support you 24 hours a day. Plus, all plans include a 5,000 Rand bail benefit. Join today. SMS LEGAL to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Find your next design obsession at Decorex Joburg. From the 30th of July to the 2nd of August, the Sandton Convention Centre becomes the destination for the latest in decor and design. Explore over 450 exhibitors across 5 levels, inspiring talks and live demos, plus the property show by Private Property. Download the Decorex app and plan your visit today. Decorex Joburg, 30th July to 2nd August. Tickets at decorex.co.za and at the door.
Coming up on the Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Mandy, good morning.
Morning, Clement.
What's popping vandag?
So Andrea Johnson's facing a lot of questions around the arrest and prosecution of Police Commissioner Fani Masimola, whether it was done to embarrass him, whether there were legitimate grounds for that to happen. So we'll unpack all of that. A new provincial commissioner has been announced in the Western Cape. It's Lieutenant General Nyanti. A trial within a trial at the Katmatlala court case. We'll speak to the EFF on its constitutional court approach on the Phala Phala impeachment matter. And at the moment happening in the Joburg CBD, a multidisciplinary takedown on counterfeit goods.
That's the Midday Report coming up after the news at 12 with Mandy Wiener. Thank you for listening to the Wednesday edition of the Clement Manyathela Show. Let's chat again tomorrow between 9 and 12. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Bye-bye.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Let's begin with news just in. Major General Sizakele Janji has been appointed as the new Western Cape Police Commissioner. He succeeds Tembisile Pategile, who retired at the end of last month after serving 5 years in the post. Janji will officially take over as the Western Cape's top cop in the beginning of next year.